ready to rock here for our top 24 battles. Nicky Davey to lead in it, Darren McElroy for his first battle.
This is for a place in that magic top 16. We're going to have the top 16 drivers parade just after our top 24 action, but we are ready for battle action down here. Water Brazil, round 3 of IDC, and it is Nicky Davey to lead us in. It's the battle of the blue S chassis, and Darren McElroy is right there with it.
As we come up onto the wall, bit of a win, and Nicky Davey has to make a correction. Darren making a dive onto the rear corner there, Nicky Davey's S15 right.
Nicky Davey there with all the horsepower of the 6-cylinder. Darren McElroy doing all he can here, but he's just back a little bit there, not having the proximity he needed there, Rob, to be in the hunt there for a win in this battle so far.
Yeah, but I want to draw your attention to the fact that Nicky wasn't on the best line there between 3, 4 and 5, so did he pull out that gap by missing clipping points? That's what the judges are going to be looking at here today. We're going to swap them around for the second half. This time it is Darren McElroy to lead in Nicky Davey.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicky Davey looking like a new driver this year. I just said it to him downstairs there that you're a new man this year. We were speaking about his son as well, Dean, who's also in competition. So we're going to have to see Nicky Davey back in the locker to make this one where Darren McElroy can do that perfect lead run as he leads us in up the hill here. Just a little bit wide there from Darren. He's very wide. He's very wide. Oh, Nicky Davey has to take evasive action. Nicky Davey has to take big evasive action to avoid contact, and it's a messy one, but Nicky Davey's right back out the door.
Yeah, very good from Nicky Davey to avoid contact. Look at this, the drive from Nicky Davey onto the door. Darren McElroy, 180 or 6 guys. Give it up for Nicky Davey and Darren McElroy.
Welcome.
First battle.
Welcome to IDC. That is Irish competitive drifting. That's just the first battle of our top 24, and it's Nicky Davey putting it right on the door there with Darren McElroy.
I have goosebumps, man. The hair in the back of my neck is stood up there. It's this exciting, adrenaline-filled Irish drifting that we've seen time and time again here. Great to have it back here at Watergrass Hill for a pro competition this Sunday at round 3. So guys, they can hear you inside in the cars. Give it up for Darren McElroy. And we'll wait for Nicky Davey to pull up to the line here as well. But give it up for Nicky Davey.
The Nicky Davey fan club go wild. And a fantastic chase there from Nicky. Guys, once again, let's hear for Darren McElroy. Nicky Davey, our first battle of the top 24. So we can announce going through, booking their place in that all-important top 16. It's Darren McElroy booking his place in the top 16. That's it from Nicky Davey. What a great season done for Nicky Davey. Let's hear from the man from Sligo, guys. Fantastic season, and we're going to see his son Dean in competition.
We will see him in round 4 as well.
We will see him in round 4, of course, yes. So guys, for any very close battle, in the to be transparent basically, we're going to go back to our judges for any close one just to get an explanation from that one. So Kevin O'Connell, can you run us through that one please and let us know how Darren McElroy took the win?
Yeah, no problem. Like, it really all comes down to the second run there. Unfortunately, Nicky just having a very poor initiation, a very late initiation, and a lot of understeer around the first corner. That meant that he got himself caught out then coming up in front of us here in judging tower, and ended up dropping a wheel even on the transition on the straight. At that point, he was at a huge disadvantage in the chase position, and even though he had a good second half of the run, he still wasn't able to pull that major deficit. And even though as well he had an advantage from his lead run as well, it just wasn't enough to overturn that huge disadvantage from the first corner and a major mistake. So Darren McElroy gets the win overall.
Thanks so much, Kevin. There you have it. Darren McElroy goes through. We move back to the line. It's Christopher Dean. He's going up against Sean Watt.
Sean Watt. So it's BMW engine in a BMW chassis versus a Nissan engine in a Nissan chassis. It's Christopher Dean with the 400 brake horsepower. SR20 S14 to lead us in. Sean Watt is right here. Guys, look at this of Sean Watt. Now it's Christopher Dean. Heading the SR20 over the straight. Sean Watt makes the dive. Look at this from Sean Watt. Wow, he got it stopped, Rob.
Just got it stopped from Sean Watt. This team now comes down our backstream here. Not much of an answer there from Sean Watt for Christine.
Yeah, he did all he needed to do there at the first part of the battle and tried to make that big dive into the first hairpin there, but just maybe lacking those last couple of horsepowers there to get right on the door of Christopher Dean there at the end with the legs of that Nissan Silvia with the SR20. So we are ready to swap the water now and change it around. We're ready to rock here. It's Sean Watt leading us in. Christopher Dean, the Highland qualifier, chases him in, and Sean Watt is nicely online here. Christopher Dean looks like he's playing with the throttle now. He's playing with the throttle. Is he going to play with the quarter throttle? Sean Watt, he is. Look at this for Christopher Dean. He's right there with him. He's just going to have to hit the low pedal here. He's giving him that bit of room now.
Yeah, Christopher Dean probably has a bit of room there. We see Sean Watt hitting the brakes there. Trying to get the car out there. He's something. And that's the horsepower. Christine doing a great job there. Sticking with Sean Watt. Sean, if he can't get it there, and I'm a horsepower, I would say. But so far, so good. First Sean Watt is Series 4. They are champions for order at the moment, so this has to be a change. Christine also, as I roll over 2 SR powers there, I think it was an RB actually who wants in the McFadden.
Well,
yeah,
I didn't hear a word of that.
Didn't hear a word, yeah. Hopefully they didn't hear a word. But yeah, Christopher also in the hunt for the title in the top 10 as well. So we're waiting for the cars to pull to the line. So guys, give it up for Christopher Dean and Sean Watt. And Mike, you have the result.
We do have the results as the guys acknowledge each other there on the line. And going through to the top 16. He's up from the rookie class. He's through to the top 16. It's Christopher Dean going through to the top 16. That's it from Sean Watt. We'll be seeing Sean back at round 4 in Mongello Park. Fantastic driving from Sean all weekend. But that is all she wrote for Sean Watt from today. Christopher Dean books his place in the top 16 as we have these two hard chargers here. It's 2S chassis. It's RB25 power for Lee McFadden all the way from the very tip top of County Donegal versus SR20 in the beautiful S15 of Kieran Casey down from Innocent County Clare. Kieran Casey jumps the line as he is entitled to do in the chase position. He's right there with Lee McFadden. Look at this from Kieran Casey, Rob.
Look at the angle from Lee McFadden. He's going to get off contact between Casey and McFadden here in the transition before they stay in. Lee McFadden goes to the wide. Casey runs over the corner from point 6. Smoke fires aggression in this battle. Has it all. McFadden goes to the last corner. Casey's been right there with him. What a battle. And we're only in top 24.
What a battle, guys. Let's hear for Kieran Casey putting his fantastic S15 there on the line. You know, Kieran didn't have the best to look there in round 1 or 2, Rob, but he looks like he's angry. He maybe, you know, I always say to Rob, you're better off driving a car that's a little bit battered. I was always better in the RX-7 after a crash.
Yeah.
I think you're subconsciously minding that mint car a little bit too much, but Kieran Casey, he's done the damage now. He's put the marks on that car. Maybe we're going to see different Kieran Casey.
Yeah, it's got a few battle scars. Took the rear bumper off there in his qualifying run, and he just looks aggressive here today. Lee McFadden, a very aggressive driver in the chase position, so Lee McFadden will be having him told he has to go hard here. This has been back there to change the championship. Lee McFadden currently in second.
Yeah, look, Kieran Casey's got off the line here, guys. This could be a big upset because Lee McFadden is in second place in this championship. This could be a big upset. Lee McFadden is sitting in second in the championship, but Kieran Casey has gone off with this one. Lee McFadden has no answer for him, Rob.
Oh no, it's all coming undone here from McFadden. His championship hopes to be going down well. Getting good out of top 24, but Kieran Casey not putting the foot wrong there. McFadden just not seeing an answer.
Yeah, wow, what a battle for Kieran Casey. Lee McFadden has looked pretty much unstoppable until he met Tomas Kiley in this championship. And Rob, I'm not sure what Kieran Casey's after having for breakfast or possibly lunch there. But Lee McFadden is usually such a fast car. Kieran Casey's just got away from him.
Yeah, I mean, Kieran Casey's SR power. I think Lee McFadden's RB power. Like, usually you have an RB taking the win against an SR. We'll have to see what the judges make it happen. But first, guys, give it up for Kieran Casey and Lee McFadden putting it all on the line for your entertainment. This afternoon here, I'd like to see round 3. So judges still deliberating on this one by the looks of it.
Yeah,
So
we have a deliberation going here, but of course there is a Mazworks SR20 there, and that's Sylvia, I'm told. And we have the RB25 Skyline 6-cylinder engine in Lee McFadden's car, but both cars there putting down all the horsepower. I would say, Rob, there's probably about 1100 brake horsepower there on track in front of us. Built at home, most of these engines as well, of course, and you know, it's crazy stuff that we're seeing in front of us here for a top 24.
yeah, exactly, Mike. You know, that's what we love to see here. Irish Drifting putting up like that battle would be nearly finalist. You know, to see it in the top 24 really shows how much these guys want to win. So we're still deliberating here. Scores in my left hand side here. So Kevin O'Connor is saying something here in lines. We won't say what they're saying instead. They're in deliberation on this one.
Yeah, I can hear them there. They are in deliberation, and I hear tipping point 6 being mentioned, so not as clear cut as we might have thought. Possibly here and there sacrifice some clips or something. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I do hear the judges, who are of course on 3 headsets to each other, 3 mics, 3 headsets. They can only hear each other and nobody else, so they're deep in conversation about this one. To me, Rob, I thought that Kieran Casey had a really good chase there, and then he just seemed to get away, and he didn't have the proximity, unusually for Lee McFadden, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, if we went back to the first battle, it was the case that Lee ran a small bit wide there and nearly slowed the car down too much there between 5 and 6, and then Casey ran over the 1 and 6. We'll have to see. Judges have made a decision, Mike, and the result is?
Yeah, so I can announce going through to the top 16. It's Lee McFadden going through to the top 16. We're going to go back to the judges for that one. Kieran Casey with a fantastic run. We're going to have to hear what happened exactly there, guys. Lee McFadden goes through to the top 16. Kieran Hines, from a commentator's point of view, that one looked a little bit different. Can you explain to us how Lee McFadden is after progressing, please?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot in it, but there still was enough to make it go on here. If you look at the first round, okay, so the only error Lee made in the first round was he dropped over the 6 line, which is the very last step there. It's a small mistake. The big mistake they made was Kieran Casey. Coming up in tip 2 and tip 3, he doesn't allow the lead car to transition. There's contact there. It does affect Lee's line and his transition, and he's even wide at tip 6, which, you know, he's entry into tip 5 into the second hair, or the first hairpin was actually compromised by that contact in the field. So after the first run, Lee comes away with a 7-3 advantage, quite sizable. And when we swap it around there, yes, Kieran gets an advantage of the 6-4. Again, Kieran drops the lead at tip 9 on the inside. Lee also drops the lead at tip 9, so they kind of cancel each other out. So the biggest problem Lee had was he was lacking proximity through the run, and he hasn't over-rotated tip 6. But sizable along as that was a mistake, it's not as big a mistake that Kieran made in the first one. So, you know, it was the error on the first one that actually seemed the lead there really.
So fine margins there, guys, in that one, and I did forget, Rob, in the excitement, I forgot the contact there.
Yeah, I was the same. I was going to say that because we spoke about the hairpin below here where he was wide, but we forgot that the reason he was wide is because he was offline because of the contact here in front of us on the tower. Now, Mike, this next one is the one to talk about.
Yeah, we have an experiment on the line here. We've got Niall Murray in all the horsepower, with all the horsepower in his PS13 against Jack Shanahan. An experiment here in the Saab engine TS Drift Days E46 BMW owned by Tommy Smith here, and we're ready to rock. And Jack Shanahan is down a lot of power. He's running road tyres, guys, because he can't push the semi slicks. Niall Murray has a very, very fast car, but Jack Shanahan is on the inside line here.
He's still here with Niall Murray. He's going to make a big dive here. He's going to have to make a dive onto the rear corner. He does. Look at this from Shanahan.
Look at this from Jack Shanahan on road tyres on the E46 BMW. Doesn't have the legs out of the corner. Those semi slicks from Niall Murray doing the business with Jack Shanahan. What a driver. Getting this BMW up and running. Wow, guys, let's hear it there for Jack Shanahan and Niall Murray.
Wow, what a run there. It was looking so good for the first half of that battle there. Here, Niall Murray's race brakes weak.
Absolutely.
He's coming from the circuit racing, seeing those race brakes, a lot of temperature needed to heat them up. You know, it's probably warm at this stage, but anyway.
Yeah, but like Jack Shanahan, it's an experiment, guys. Can a top driver, Jack Shanahan is a world level driver. He's as good as you're ever going to see. We're going to have a cool down lap here. We see, guys, we had a lot of this yesterday as well. Of course, the ambient temperatures not as warm as yesterday, but still very, very warm. And the air going through those radiators is still at about 25 degrees plus, so they're not cooling. It's not cooling the cars an awful lot. So we're going to just have a cool down lap at not wide open throttle to get some air down through those radiators and hopefully get the water jacket and oil temperatures down there. So yeah, so
on that point about temperature as well, we saw this TS Drift Days E46 blow a head gasket on Friday afternoon due to the temperatures, how hot it was. Also then obviously that secondary issue where there was an issue where loose bolt was made its way down to one of his head. They got that all sorted out. And then this morning, Mike, as you said, the turbo wastegate went.
Yeah, the wastegate wins, and I got a turbo smart one. I was going to go on the bike, I came in the car, looked, I got a turbo smart wastegate. They didn't need it because they got a similar title to what's on the car. So they're sorted, but this car is down on power, he's on road tyres. The experiment is, can a top driver make a non-top car work at top level? So let's see, Jack Shanahan is after getting off the line here from Niall Murray. Niall Murray's a long way back, but he doesn't have those sinister tyres to rein him in. So let's see if the grip makes it. But Jack Shanahan is right on the wall, but Niall Murray knows right with him, almost gets caught out from that extra grip from these tyres. And look at the Sylvia playing now with the E46 rod.
That proximity clash and on the handbrake, all the pumps and banks have been going back there. Niall Murray's still right there. I don't know, I think Ryan White is going to translate between 4 and 5 and get back to proximity.
What a run, and Jack Shanahan making that 370 brake horsepower, which is probably decreasing by the minute there from temperature. making that work in the E46, a chassis that he has very, very little practice in. And Niall Murray there doing a good job in chase position, just staying away from contact. Did you see the difference, guys, there between the semi-slick tyres on the back of Niall Murray's car versus the road tyres in the back of Jack's car? So Jack Shannon doing all that can be possibly done there. So can a top driver take at best a middle of the road City Pro car deep in the competition? Guys, let's hear for Jack Shannon. He's one of the best drivers in the world right now. He's pedaling that E46 as hard as it can be pedaled. Niall Murray, no stranger to podiums across all sorts of racing classes. So let's see, Rob, the experiment, what's going on?
I can announce, taking the win in the battle and going through to the top 16 is... It's Niall Murray!
Niall Murray goes through, guys, to the top 16. It was a hard-fought battle, but let's hear it for Jack Shanahan doing it all that could be done there in the E46 BMW. So Rob, apparently the car is a big factor.
Apparently the car is a big factor.
But a great driver, Niall Murray, as well.
Yes, but you just see how it's not bringing that car. He's going to do some rings there. All for your entertainment this weekend, doing this experiment here. Jack Shanahan, I should say. Go up against Niall Murray. Guys, give it up for Jack Shanahan in a very underpowered car here for our pro grade. But that's the end of our experiment, I suppose, and we move on to the next battle.
Yeah, that's it, that's drifting. It just moves on. It's a quick moving sport, and we are moving on to the next battle. And Tommy Smith here of TS Drift is size, so the leaf size here because his car is after surviving another day. We're moving on. It's in the Lions and Tom Murphy. There could be fireworks in this one. Tom Murphy's a crazy chase driver in the Lions and in the SR20. He's up the hill. Tom Murphy's right now. Look at the guy from Tom Murphy up the hill. He's very shallow though, man.
The Lions have to up to avoid the wall here as well. He's going to get back in. And the Lions gone very shallow here. Can he hold it? Look at Tom Murphy on the door. And then the Lions is ready to look at this. And the Lions and Tom Murphy as they go into our final hairpin. A bit of a correction there from Murphy. Straightens up. Judges will be docking a few points for that.
Yeah, absolutely. As I try to get out of the tire spot there, and you can smell that semi-stick rubber there getting thrown into the atmosphere. Tom Murphy with a great chase there up the hill, but he definitely did have a big wobble. You know, Rob, he wasn't matching the angle there of in there, which is what he needs to do. So he definitely was close, but he was quite shallow, quite straight up the hill there, and almost straight up completely. So I don't think he's going to pull much of an advantage from the first run.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he made a big error there coming into our bottom hairpin as well in the chase position. So we're ready to rock for the second half of this battle. This time it's Tom Murphy leading and the Lions as we go down the back side. Look at the gap here for Murphy. And the Lions starts to line back in some proximity as they stick it onto the wall here. Look at this. Murphy runs the wall and the Lions right now. An early transition for 4 wide. Can this run carry out to 5?
Yeah, he can indeed. Oh, but there is contact. I was just saying he can, but he can't. Contact there from in the Lions onto the back quarter panel. Tom Murphy. And a fantastic battle here. What hard driving for both drivers. Guys, let's hear it for Tom Murphy and in the Lions.
Bit of a scrappy run there from both drivers. Kind of came undone there between 3 and 4 here. They were, as we said, and we said it before, we said it again, very much the line back one has to be offline here. But anyway, we'll see what the judges make of that one between the Lions.
Yeah, so it's, as I try to hear myself think here over Chuck here in Flynn Roads warming their tyres and roads. As we mentioned yesterday, Rob, even though it's a hot day, it's still important to get some temperature to those front tyres as well. If you need to make a quick steering correction, you need those front tyres putting down the grip. So it's County Kerry versus County Galway, guys. Let's hear it for the showman Tom Murphy and the man from Galway in the Lions 2S chassis. As Tom Murphy nearly takes out Cian the Cone Leahy, who won the Mr. Marshall competition, of course, last year as well. And Tom Murphy there. Let's hear it, guys, for Tom Murphy putting on all the shows here as usual in the Lions, in the beautifully prepared Lions auto body S13 180SX. So the judges are going over this one, pointing down here. Tom Murphy definitely had a big mistake there coming up the hill, and another one later on at the first one, Rob.
Yeah, I think this is going to be too scrappy a run. It's going to be a case of trying to dissect the number of mistakes and trying to weigh out which one is worth more or worth less, etc. So I'm happy to be in a commentator position and not in the judging seat in this occasion, because the judges are deliberating on this one. And yeah, as we thought, not enough to be able to split them. We are going one more time.
Oh yes, that's just what their engines like. The old engines love a bit of one more time action. No time to cool down.
Yeah, no time to cool down.
So we're going to see Tom Murphy versus in the Lions again. They're checking their tyres, see if they can go out straight away or if the cars have to go into the pits.
Yeah, so we're going to go to Kevin O'Connell for an explanation on that one.
Yeah, just to quickly explain that, guys. At the start of the day, this top 24, I did say we would be really zoning in the lead line there. quite a few mistakes, ended up making contact with Tom on his chase, and then Tom also having a significant straight on the final hairpin on his chase. Overall, poor lead lines, lots of mistakes in the chase with flashes of proximity. We just have to see it one more time to get a clear winner.
There you have it, Kevin O'Connell. Transparency is key here. IDC want to let you know what the judges are thinking. We're going to move it back to the line. In the meantime, it's Chuck Geary going up against our third place in the championship, Fiona Roach. So Chuck Geary got that alternator sorted for this car, for this board is what we heard inside the kitchen there. The Barry engines, 4 Barry engines BMW. Here we go. Look at the gap. Early from Geary is after pulling on Fiona Roach as they flick it in. Off the hill here at IDC round 3. Steps on the loud. Coming along on the wall. Fiona Roach. Bit of an early transition for Roach. Look at this. Look at the diving Roach. Can they hold it?
Oh, he doesn't hold it. Chuck Geary with all the angle there at 50.6. And Fiona Roach trying to make the dive, but he's got no answer here for Chuck Geary. Chuck Roach is wide. Fiona Roach is wide. Fiona Roach can't stay with him. Fiona Roach spins. The young man from Mallow with 700 brake horsepower can't stay with the barrel rob.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a very scrappy run from Roach there. He seems to just sacrifice line completely, trying to gain back some proximity and some aggressive points. Ends up over-rotating in the end there around tipping box 9. So definitely a big advantage there towards Charlie Geary, I would say. But in saying that, Charlie's lead line wasn't very clean, we were saying.
So
off tipping box 9 there and off 8, but he got up to 10 nicely. But like, you know, we just heard there from Kevin O'Connell how important the lead line is now. I don't think any of those mistakes that Fiona Roach made were as a result of that though.
No, I wouldn't say it was as a result of Chuck's lead line, Rob, but yeah, definitely a couple of mistakes being made out there. But again, it looks easy on paper. Watching this competition here, it might look easy, but these guys are on the absolute limit. And this track is so tight, so technical that it's very hard to get a perfect run every time because conditions change. You know, your car changes, your tire temperature is changing, track temperature is changing. So every lap you go, something is slightly different.
Yeah, it's still very warm there. We had a bit of cloud cover here today at IDC round 3. Not as warm as it was yesterday, but the temperatures definitely having an effect here. These cars need the extra lap as well. Of course, Fiona Roach having that engine issue last week at BDC round 3. I think that engine was pulled out of the car during the week, so Jack Shannon working hard on that car as well. But we're ready to rock for the second half of this top 24 battle. We're swapping them around. It's Fiona Roach to lead in Charlie Geary.
Yeah, of course, the higher qualifier leads first, the advantage being they know how hard to go on their chase running with their spot and their ears. So the lower qualifier leads us in this time. Charlie Geary chases him in with 450 horsepower versus 700 horsepower. And Charlie Geary doesn't look like he's got the power here because he's right with Fiona Roach. Oh, Fiona Roach after making a wild transition and Chuck Geary deals with it just about. Fiona Roach has got wide. Chuck Geary tries to follow him. He's struggling to follow him here, Rob. It's scrappy. It's very scrappy.
Very scrappy. You think that Charlie couldn't have much of a option there yet. Fiona Roach was very wide there. Missing 6. Completely missing 0.6. Very straight for 7. Then Chuck just had to get out of it.
Yeah, I think that might have been caused by the lead car there, Rob. I'm not sure the judge will have to look at that one, but from my view there, that was a very hard one. Very hard one to chase. Now, Fiona Roach is down. Fiona Roach is down about 200 brake horsepower compared to what he's used to in this car. He says it's a lot easier to drive, but hasn't done the business here as we lined him up here. Chuck Geary, of course, getting that Ford Barra engine sorted and a new alternator. So Chuck is shaking his head. I think he thinks he's lost this one, but we're hearing from the judges. We do have a result.
Do have a result indeed, guys. Give it up for Fiona Roach and Charlie Geary first of all. Going through to the top 16 it's Charlie Geary.
Charlie Geary goes through to the top 16. We'll see Fiona Roach back at round 4 for sure in Mondello Park. Charlie Geary, we will see him in about 45 minutes or an hour's time for our top 16 where it really heats up. So that is all she wrote for Fiona Roach for today as we move it along. It's Falvey here on the line. And it is Gary Dunn to take him on. Tomas Falvey flying the Falvey flag for today, of course. We lost his son earlier on there. Connor out of qualifying. Looked like he was down in power, but Tomas is still in competition with a broken heel. But Gary Dunn is no stranger to competition as Tomas Falvey, the higher qualifier, leads us in.
Look at this guy running down to the leading lap here, but he's trying to win him back in. Bit of a waiver there for Falvey. Has to make the correction, but so far, Gary Dunn has no answer here for Tomas Falvey's pace. Gary's trying to gain back some back here. But then Falvey makes a mistake for the a bit of a scrap here on here from the drivers. Gary Dunn with no proximity there, but Falvey making a bit of an adjustment there between 7 and 8.
Yeah, definitely made an adjustment, Rob, but I'm not sure there's a major lack of proximity there for me. I'd be scoring that one very heavily in Tomas Falvey's favour, maybe 7-3, 8-2 possibly. So, you're always watching this through commentators' eyes, not exactly the judges' eyes, and we don't see those little intricacies of the run that the judges will be watching for. But for that one, I think Tomas is definitely a big advantage.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one there. Just a bit of a slight error, slight correction there between 7 and 8. I don't think it's going to be enough to overturn the deficit that is the lack of proximity that Gary Dunn had. Gary just didn't seem to have an answer there for the pace of Tomas Falvey's S15. As they go for a cool down lap here, just to cool these cars down, of course, getting some fresh air ran through them. I know the air might be as fresh as what it normally would be with the ambient temperature, but still, it's better than nothing, better than just sitting on the line. So,
and Rob, I'm going to say, speaking of temperatures and the feeling in there, you said it doesn't feel as fresh. It definitely feels really humid to me or something, and I'm looking at the clouds and there is possibility before this event ends of showers of rain. Like I said, I was going to bring the bike, I looked at the forecast, I saw from around 5 o'clock that there's rain pulling in over here in Watergrass Hill, so we could have a huge drama towards the finals in this yet.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with Kevin O'Connell's radar here. He says it's about 8 o'clock, so we'll have to see, is your radar better or is Kevin O'Connell's radar better? We're back on the line ready to rock for the second half of this top 24 battle. It is Gary Dunn to lead into Moss Falvey. Away we go on the back straight here in Watergrass Hill. Look at this one, Falvey is right there with Gary Dunn. He doesn't want to pick up. Dunn fails to initiate, catches some understeers all going on already, and Falvey makes the overtake. Oh, we'll have to see if that was legal. The run's over at this stage, Mike.
Oh, the run is over. That is King one way or the other. Tomas Falvey doing the overtake. Gary Dunn failed to initiate, understeered up the hill and went very, very wide there. Tomas Falvey said, that's my line, buddy, I'm going to take that. So it's a 10-0 either direction here, Rob. I'm not sure. Of course, it is allowed you are allowed to overtake should the lead car deviate significantly enough off of that qualifying line.
Yeah.
If you leave the door open enough and you can safely overtake, then you are encouraged to overtake. Now we will have to see if Gary Dunn was wide enough to allow Tomas Falvey there to overtake, or if the judges said that Tomas Falvey actually took his line.
Yeah, that's going to be the question. Is it the case, was Gary too far offline and it made it a legal overtake, or was it the case that, was it okay to do? But guys, give it up for Gary Dunn and Tomas Falvey. We can announce the judges have made a decision, and going through to the top 16 is, as we wait to dig it out, the hopes and the brace.
Tomas, what are you doing, boy? Tomas Falvey got Stone Man there on track.
Stone Man always on track there. Going through to the top 16 is, it's Tomas Falvey.
Tomas Falvey making his way through to the top 16. Gary Dunn getting all of the understeer. I don't think, Rob, that we really have to go to the judges for that one, because it was obvious enough to me there. Gary Dunn didn't initiate, caught a lot of understeer up the hill. His front wheels were pointing left, the car was going straight on. He went very far offline. Tomas Falvey saw the gap, went for it as he is allowed to do. It was a big mistake from the lead driver, so Tomas Falvey took that gap and goes through to the top 16.
There you have it, Falvey through to the top 16. We move it back to the one more time from Enda Lyons and Tom Murphy. Enda Lyons, the higher qualifier, to lead in. Tom Murphy, we're ready to rock here for this one more time battle as we go down the back straight here in the next round. Tom Murphy starting to go in the back here as well as Enda Lyons starting on the end as we come up to the wall right side. The transition back, Murphy's going to have to make a line here, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. Enda Lyons with a very nice line there. Not a lot of angle for him, but a very nice line. As we had a dutch off from Tom there in the chase position, and Enda here is getting chased down heavily by Tom Murphy. They crossed the line. Tom Murphy making the big dive there towards the end of the lap as he needed to do. It's the last thing that'll be in the judges' mind, of course. You want to have that big finish, and Tom Murphy not with the perfect proximity though, Rob, I would say.
No, and it looks like Tom's definitely struggling there in that last hairpin, struggling to get that section right between 8, 9 and 10. He didn't over-rotate the car as much, or didn't straighten the car as much from the first run, as it was for the first run, but he definitely still made a bit of a correction there. Mike, can you give a word from the track marshals?
Yeah, we're just hearing there that all the drivers are saying that all the cars are suffering massively from heat here, so it's such a humid dead kind of day here, around 25 degrees roughly ambient temperature. So again, you see cars out in Dubai there, no man, I've been out there and have been at competitions there, and the cars are slightly more engineered to take the heat here. Our cars in Ireland generally don't see these temperatures. So, maybe the cooling systems, the rads and the fans in those cars, maybe not quite up to spec, but for this kind of weather, but no, they are built to a fantastic level. However, Rob, Watergrass Hill is kind of unique because you have huge long sections of wide open throttle in these cars. You are getting a lot of air through the car, there's a bit of speed involved, but as you come out of those hairpins, you are literally pinned wide open throttle for seconds and seconds at a time, so it builds a lot of heat in these cars, which were designed to make 200 to 150 horsepower, but are now making anything from 400 to 800 horsepower.
Yeah, and they're pointing with the babies. They tend to run the cars at night, and as you said, they're way over engineered. We're ready to rock here for the second half of this battle. Tom Murphy leading in the line. It's not giving Tom Murphy an inch up the hill. Tom Murphy sets the light around in the line, starts to reel him in. Bit of a pressure for Murphy. They're going to go on. Look at the proximity here. Oh my God!
In the lines, I thought that he was heading into the pits from the back of Tom Murphy's car, but somehow he manages to get it stopped. He goes on the handbrake early, a little bit Tom Murphy to get out. Oh, Tom Murphy almost spins in the lines, backs out of it. Guys, let's hear it for In the Lines and Tom Murphy. What a run. I thought In the Lines was going to get a bit at the back of a Sylvian there and be faced into the pit, but somehow, Rob, he pressed on the anchors and just got the front of his 180 out of the way at the back of that Sylvia.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said in the middle there, but Tom Murphy's struggling in this final section here with the 8, 9 and 10. But In the Lines' line wasn't very good there. Lots of proximity, lots of aggression, but he really sacrificed the line to get onto Tom Murphy's road there. So I'll have to see what the judges make of that one. There's lots of deliberation going on here between Kevin O'Connell and Kieran Hines on this particular battle.
And remember, guys, this is a one more time as well, so we already couldn't separate these two drivers. They're treating it like it's a final, guys. It's been such a fantastic pair of battles there, and they were giving it their all. Sometimes it did lead to some scrappiness, but it's been nothing but entertaining as the judges are still going through it. And I see down on the line we've got Dave Egan and Magic Majewski there lining up, and that's another interesting one. Of course, Dave Egan's car being repaired after that impact with the wall. The back of it is welded back together and pointing generally in the right direction, he reckons, generally. And Rob, there's a bit of there might be a bit of a grudge match here between these two on the line, because there might have been a bit of bad blood there on Facebook there a few months ago. So I'm not sure if they're after
Don't mention the war, Mike.
Don't mention the war. So
I think that war is after going over there. We won't bring that one up. But what I will say though, Davis had no practice in the battle situation. He's going to get one run this morning over those issues with the handbrake and the fuel pump. So he's had no battle action yet in practice. So this is going to be a hard one for Dave to see. I don't know how much Magic has had practice-wise in regards to a battle, but we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah,
before we get to that point,
Dave had no practice, exactly. Yeah.
Before we get to that point, though, we have to figure out who's going through to the top 16 between these two men here, In the Lines and Tom Murphy. You guys, give it up for In the Lines and Tom Murphy. The judge is still deliberating on this one, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. It could be a double one more time, and of course, if that happens, you are allowed to have two one more times. Then that's it. The decision has to be made. And I've seen it happen over the years that sometimes they have to go back to the mean of the three battles to make a decision between drivers. So I could go to one more time. They're deep in discussion here. They're wired up to each other on those headsets and mics, and they can't hear us at all. They're just deep in discussion. So the boys here are Tom Murphy and in there discussing it here in track. They're doing the universal signals of what happened in the battle, but I'm not sure. Tom, do you think you won it? Do you think you won it? How could a Kerryman win? In the Lion says it's Galway versus Kerryland, so there's a bit of a county pride at stake here as well.
Yeah, as the judges go over it, of course, remind you we'll have our top 16 parade after possibly another one more time here, possibly. We'll see what happens. Two more times, yeah, but we'll have this battle, the result of this battle, possibly one more time, and then David Egan and Magic Majewski.
Well, let's ask the crowd. Let's ask the crowd. The crowd
yes. One more. Mike, you're after pulling the cable. It usually works the best when the cable is in.
I'm pulling the cable out of my mic with excitement. Let's ask the crowd, because obviously they're judging these runs as we go on as well. Guys, who thinks that Tom Murphy won that battle? In the Lines is looking at him saying, I gotta be cooler than you now, man. Who thinks that In the Lines won that battle? Oh, it's even enough in the crowd.
Yeah, well, I have a result, Mike. While you were doing that, I was checking with the judges, and we can announce going through to the top 16 it's In the Lions. In the Lions goes through. We're going to go to Kevin O'Connell for an explanation on that one.
Yeah, absolutely awesome driving by both drivers there. Absolutely throwing the ball and really. It's very, very similar. So they did. Proximity proximity and aggression, and also taking into the account the mistakes as well. Enda, I think we can all agree, definitely had a more aggressive chase run, and definitely taking more risks, and definitely being on Tom's door more throughout the run. But he did have a bigger mistake with a long handbrake drag into the final corner. Tom had less proximity, but he did make a smaller mistake by dropping the wheel in front of us here. Overall, then you have to take into account what we're rewarding, and I think everyone wants to see proximity here. So overall, ended just about takes it, but it was so close.
There you have it, that explains this. Thanks very much for that, Kevin. End the lines goes through. We say goodbye to Tom Murphy for today. Of course, we'll see him back out for round 4. But Mike, I do believe you have an announcement to make.
Yeah, we'll make this one quick now. Those cars will be heating on the line, but we have an announcement to make, of course, about the winners of our show and shine competition there. So we want the owners of these cars to make their way down to their cars, please. We're going to get you guys on the track to receive your prizes during our top 16 parade. So we have a couple of E30s down there, but the winner, or the third position, we want is the black E30 91C 16607. So can we get you up to your car right now, the marshals, and let you know what to do. We also want to get the owner of the black S14 Sylvia and the owner of the baby blue Altezza to your car. So that's the black E30 91C 16607, the black S14 Sylvia and the baby blue Altezza. Can you guys get over to your cars, please? And the marshals will let you know what to do.
There you have it, they're the winners of our show and shine competition here at round 3. We'll be back with our top 16 parade in a few minutes' time. We're ready to rock for our final battle of this top 24, where David Egan is the higher qualifier. After wrapping the back of that Corvette off the wall, he leads in.
Yeah, like I said, a couple of handbags between these stats and Facebook, and all sorted out now. They're going to sort it out on track as Dave Egan leads us in the long Corvette. Magic makes a magic dive, but he has to back out of it. Dave Egan has a groove off in his car, has the back of that car facing in generally the right direction. Looks like Rob, it's not affecting Dave Egan, he's bang on line here.
He's bang on line indeed, Dave Egan, as he transitions back ahead. He's going to have to make a dive here onto the rear corner of Dave's Corvette. He does, but is it enough, Mike? I think it might be a little bit too much, or too late, I should say.
Yeah, not sure there. Dave Egan with a nice lead line, but Magic did make up that proximity there towards the end of the run, so not a lot to separate these two
but
drivers.
But a massive error from Magic in the initiation zone there.
Yeah.
He was too aggressive, and he really caught under steer and straightened up and lost drift there for a moment, so I think the judge might be marking him down for that.
Yeah, definitely, but he did make up the proximity. I wasn't watching him so close to see if he was putting tipping points and putting the track to make up some of that proximity, but I had my eyes more on Dave there in the lead position, but Dave is just going for a cool down lap here with that LS engine Corvette, of course. LS7,
I think, yeah.
Yeah, LS7, so modern Corvette, modern Camaro ZR engine in that Corvette. So possibly a Corvette engine and a Corvette chassis there as well, Rob.
Yeah, as Dave was saying, if you wave to the crowd, we can see him through the little roll where he's taking the roof off that car. He's going to be sunburned by the end of it though. He takes the roof off, but he elected to take the roof off. One of the only people on the grid that has that off.
Yeah, I would say so. And of course, guys, you can check out Dave and all the guys' adventures there and all the behind-the-scenes action from what happens at the events there on the Drift Games blog on YouTube and all over the social media. So be sure, if you haven't checked those guys out, I think everybody knows who these guys are now, but if you haven't checked them out, be sure to give them a look up on YouTube there on the various social media, because they post some fantastic content, always entertaining, and always show what goes on behind the scenes of all these builds and all the crazy stuff that they do. So we're going to swap them around. We have the higher qualifier, Dave Egan, to chase in this time. He might be at a slight advantage here, but the back of his car might be facing exactly in the right direction, Rob. He's after leaving a little gap, and he's going to try and make it up here, and he does, Rob.
He does make it up the first day. Look at this. Proximity from Egan. He's going to have to make a dive here. He doesn't need to make a dive though. He's making the dive anyway, Mike.
He is making the dive anyway. He's right there with the S14 and Magic Milewski. He's very close. Dave Egan is very close here. He doesn't have to do this, Rob, and Magic, he forces Magic into the air. Gives the judges no choice in the matter. Dave Egan, what a chase run.
What a chase run. Again, I couldn't even get my words out there. David had no practice in the chase position this morning. He had one run in practice. He had problems with the handbrake, problems with the fuel pump, wrapped the back of the car off the wall, had to re-weld an arm, as we were telling the crowd here earlier on, Mike. Realign all these bent arms as well. No practice in the chase position, and here he does. Was a really good lead line, and then forces Magic into that error at the end of this. I think it's very clear about the results here on this one.
Yeah, he forced Magic into the error there, definitely. Dave Egan is happy, guys. Is there nothing that he can't do? He's been a commentator, top event organizer, top DJ. What else, Rob? Top absolute social media mogul, blogger, and now he's showing that he's a top driver as well.
Yes, indeed. Guys, give it up for Magic Blauczewski and David Egan. But we can announce going through to the top 16 and taking the final spot in the top 16 is... It's David Egan!
Dave Egan goes through to the top 16 in the Drift Games Corvette. That's all she wrote for Magic Logistics, but we will be seeing him back, of course, at round 4 Mondello Park. And guys, that is it for our top 24. We're going to whittle them down to 16. We have our top 8 qualifiers versus the winners of these 8 battles. We're going to have a bit of a drivers parade, Robin. We're going to have the winners of our show and shine competition. There's a lot going on here today. Giving the drivers the thumbs up, making sure they're ready to go, making sure all the bonnet pins are closed and everything. So it is Archie Harmer over from the UK versus Dara McElroy. Rob, this is going to be a hard one to call, but Archie's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, Archie's top qualifier here going up against Dara McElroy, who's 17th qualifier, but Dara's had that extra experience of having a top 24 battle.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned, it is an advantage to come to the top 24 as well. As we're ready to go for the top 16 down here, I can see round 3 in Watergrass in. It's a big entry to change position from Dara McElroy, but he goes very straight on. It's already in scope for Dara as Archie hammers the car over the straight here. Big transition from Archie all the way over the Dara McElroy. He's right in the front.
He is indeed for McElroy. A slight correction there from McElroy though, as Harmer likes to make McElroy is in the box and he's taking out the corner on his way. A water run there from Harmer. McElroy making a few mistakes in the chase, but lots of proximity there, don't we?
Yeah, it's hammer time for Archie Harmer. A big run from him there in the lead position, but like you said there, all the aggression and proximity from Dara, but a couple of mistakes there, so I would say that Archie's at an advantage here in this one going into the second run. Of course, the higher qualifier leads first, and that being the advantage. Of course, we're having a cool down lap here now. I'm getting a universal signal from Sean Healy, our track controller, that we're having a cool down lap. Once again, ambient temperature is very high here today in these cars. We don't want to lose an engine over overheating. It is preventable. We can have a cool down lap. So that is what we are giving the drivers a chance to do. Let's hear your appreciation as the past guys get them psyched up for the second half of this first top 16 battle. We will be ready to rock once we get those temperatures down a few degrees, hopefully under the bonnets. Dara McElroy opting to keep the bottom on that beautiful 180SX, Rob.
Yeah, that PJF Motorsport compared 180SX. Dara McElroy is driving this year and was driving last year as well, I should say. I do believe this is the first round we've seen Dara McElroy in competition. So we're about ready to rock here for the second half of this battle, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to seeing the second round of this one. I haven't really seen Archie chasing yet. He was very, very good in the lead position and looked great in qualifying this morning. He's a very, very young man as well. He's a future star of sport. So let's see what he can do in the chase position. This is our first time seeing him in the lap, of course. And he's right there with Dara. He's right there with him. He's going to dive off the door. Also, he does lose a little bit of speed there on the handbrake. He's quite shallow, but Dara McElroy is a very wide one.
He has indeed, and he'll stick it back early in transition because they're all flying. Look at the dive here from Hammer onto the rear quarter of McElroy.
Yeah, he's got a big shot there to make that dive go, so let's see how he's going to see that one. Dara McElroy enters the S15 over the straight here. Archie Harmer. Rob, Archie Harmer isn't looking fantastic either in the chase position there. I'm not sure how this one's going to go.
Yeah, they say it's one thing to lead, it's another thing to chase there. A very sketchy chase run there from Archie Harmer. A couple of mistakes there, sacrificing the line, trying to get back proximity, put wheels off track then down here at 10.9 as our track marshal goes to retrieve that cone. So yeah, Mike, we would have had an advantage going after the first half of the battle. So that looks like he's now McElroy's corner after this first half.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be very tough with the ball there as we have Alan O'Loughlin there, Christopher Dean Morgan there. So the judges are in deep consideration here. They're having a chat about this one, of course. Always such a close thing in the top 16. But it's never remember that clear cut really, to be honest. So here and here is having a chat with the criminal cabinet here in second course. I would say, Rob, maybe about close enough to 55 years of drifting experience between our 3 judges here.
There is indeed here in Ireland, one of the OG, I would say, of drifting, not only in Ireland, in the UK, across the Middle East as well. So, guys, give it up for Archie Harmer and Dara McElroy. We get them out of the cars. Give them a round of applause, put it all on the line for your entertainment here this weekend. The judges still deliberating on this one, Mike.
So we've got all Nissan power versus all BMW power, so
It's an SR 2.2.
SR 2.2 litre versus the 2.8 turbocharged BMW engine. Looks to be very reliable. Traditionally those things can be quite hard to get in the bike. They're very good at blowing up and overheating when you turbocharge them, but it looks to be very reliable there under the bonnet of Archie Harmer's E36 BMW. So the judges still in deliberation here about this one. Do we have a decision, Rob?
We do have a decision. going through to the grade 8 is... It's the man from the UK, it's Archie Harmer!
Look at the joy on Archie Harmer's face. He goes through to the top 8, and we lose Darragh McAvoy, but we see him back in action. Surely a chat fest for round 4. And as always, guys, when it's a close one, when we can't call it ourselves, we're going to go back to the judges just for a bit of transparency. Kevin O'Connell, can you tell us what happened in that one,
Archie was leading. Darragh had a massive dive into the first corner. Unfortunately, he actually had to straighten up a little bit, so he was at a disadvantage for that. Then he switched around in as well on the same corner, and Darragh had a very, very tight line on the first corner as well. Those were really the two key differences for me. Archie not making major mistakes like that. Yes, he had the cleanest chase run and not the most amount of aggression that Darragh had, but overall those were two significant mistakes for me that really just barely separated the two drivers.
There you have it. Thanks so much, Kevin O'Connell, for explaining that one. We move back to the line for our second of our top 16 battles here at IDC round 3. Alan pulling the lock and the run against Christopher Dean.
Yeah, and look at Christopher Dean who's hanging back there just to get that acceleration off the line. But Alan O'Loughlin hits the low pedal there, possessed for Dean, and he gets away slightly from Christopher Dean up the hill here. Alan O'Loughlin has a nice wide line right out to the wall. Christopher Dean has no answer for him so far. He's miles back here for a top 16 battle. Alan O'Loughlin in the right the lead position. Christopher Dean not doing a whole lot wrong either in the chase here, Rob, but he just doesn't have the proximity.
Losing full drift, unfortunately there. We spoke to Chris in the top 16 grade, who was saying that his car didn't have the legs on O'Loughlin's car, and as he said there, Mike gave a big huge run up there for that, trying to gain back some of the gap, getting a bit of an extra few meters there into the straight.
Yeah, an intelligent thing to do there, the chase position from Christopher Dean with his 400 brake horsepower now he has under the bonnet with the old James Dean turbo from his RX-7 there, but it didn't seem like he had enough there just to stay with Alan O'Loughlin, but we're going to switch him around. We've got Alan O'Loughlin making the big dive onto the door. Christopher Dean, he's very shallow here, Rob. He doesn't have a horsepower on him, but he is right there. Christopher Dean is on a beautiful line. Christopher Dean drops the wall. Alan O'Loughlin is right here with him all the way around the first hairpin. He's playing with the side of that S4.
He doesn't need this to be aggressive after his contact.
Contact between both drivers, Rob. It was almost all over. But Rob, I was going to say Alan O'Loughlin has almost walked away with that one, but I didn't see Christopher Dean doing anything wrong there in the lead position. Alan O'Loughlin makes the dive, couldn't stop his 180SX, and now all of a sudden we might be looking at a totally different situation.
Yeah, I mean, when you turn it back in the first spot, and then, you know, we spoke about this previously, you know, drivers don't need to be that aggressive in the same position as carry a bit of advantage. Now, in saying that, Christopher Dean didn't do a whole pile wrong in the chase position. He stayed on the qualifying line exactly as the judges would have asked if he was more than 3 car lengths back. Stay on the qualifying line. So Christine doing exactly what he needed to do there, even though he was down on power. But Alan just being very aggressive there, making contact in the bottom hairpin here. They're out of the cars. Guys, give it up for Christopher Dean and Alan O'Loughlin.
What a fantastic aggressive run from both drivers there, and Christopher Dean coming up all the way from the rookie class yesterday, guys, taking the podium and the win, in fact, actually, yesterday, Rob. Yeah. So taking many trophies home already. He's still in the hunt for them here as our judges are in deliberation. They're pointing down here, I see, to our clipping point 9 there, the last hairpin. So guys, I would say that Alan O'Loughlin had a big advantage in that one. But then he just made that big dive onto Christopher's door, possibly, Rob, unnecessarily. And I'm not sure was all that advantage being thrown away at that stage. So let's see what the judges have to say.
The judges have made a decision, and the decision is they can't script them. They're going one more time.
Yes, we are going to see them going one more time, guys. Christopher Dean and Alan O'Loughlin can't be separated. They're happy to go one more time. The drivers are delighted. I'm sure we're all delighted as well to see this one. We're going to go quickly to our judges there as well. Again, a very close one here. Did it come down? Essentially, did that mistake at the end from Alan?
Yeah, I mean, some of the first thing to Alan Alan had a slight advantage in that point, anyway, because of the separation. We swapped around, and Alan really didn't need to dive in as he was doing. We saw the change position. but he did, and that's entertaining for everybody here, and of course we have to applaud that. But at the same time, he did get caught. I mean, we looked at Chris Scott going into the final here. We had a little marker line there just on the entry. Chris wasn't inside that white line to indicate that he was going off line. He was borderline on the edge of it, so that's fine. So the no real issue with that with Chris Gunn going in there. But Alan, I think maybe the additional pace in the car got caught, kind of had to go in the rest of the side. And I think he's passed the side for the time with Chris's drive side company. Stopped Chris from being able to steer. And I think that's basically what caused. So that's the thing we're going to raise.
So there you have it from Kieran Hines, the head man of Irish drifting, the old stage, and one of the most experienced drift judges in the whole world. So that is it explained in depth from him there. So we're ready to move it along to our next battle. It could be the battle of the top 16 big hitters. It's Alan Hines versus second place in the championship. Lee McFadden will dives on to Alan Hines and go right from the get-go, but Alan Hines is on that perfect lead right up the hill. He's right on the wall here, Rob, right on the wall.
Lee McFadden standing here.
What happened to Alan Hines here? Lee McFadden has to take aggressive action. Alan Hines has a very uncharacteristic wobble as he gets it back on track here, and Lee McFadden shuts it down. Oh, grabs understeer and loses the will to drive the car. I'm not sure what happened there, Rob, but these guys are usually so consistent. I'm not sure what happened. First of all, a big mistake from Alan Hines there in the first hairpin. Then a massive mistake from Lee McFadden. Looked like maybe, Rob, he might have caught some understeer there possibly and just couldn't get the front wheels to hook up there and get the car turned from the hairpin.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was uncharacteristic from both drivers here. Alan Hines having a mistake into the bottom hairpin here. And also, then Lee McFadden making an issue. Yeah, we're just going to check the track and see if they're oil on track. It's so uncharacteristic there from both drivers to make mistakes like that.
It's very uncharacteristic for both drivers to make a mistake. Just these guys especially, they're so consistent. Alan Hines doesn't generally put a wheel wrong there, so we're just checking to see if there is some fluid or some possible something that could cause a lack of adhesion here. Now, Rob, it could be that just the rear tires of these cars are gripped up so much that the front aren't being warmed up and they're just struggling to actually make those steering corrections with the huge amounts of grip in the rear of the cars. But we're just checking to make sure there's no fluids on track.
Yeah, we'll get our track marshals to check and see if there's any fluid on that track there.
Yeah, so we're hearing there doesn't seem to be any fluids or anything on track, so it might be just simply a mistake for both drivers. So Lee McFadden here might have an issue here, guys. He's calling a 5-minute rule here, so possibly, Rob, I'm not sure, maybe Lee McFadden there had a power steering failure or something. It looked like there was definitely an issue there with his steering. He lost steering there just coming into clipping point 9, so possibly a power steering belt or something there, or if he's using an electric hydraulic pump, it might have just blown a fuse or something, or do a line off or something, but definitely looked like he couldn't steer that 188X.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Mike. It was just a case, it was so uncharacteristic from Lee there. He's chucked it into our last hairpin here, and the car just turned the other way on him. So yeah, just to explain 5-minute rules because we haven't touched on that yet. If you're just joining us, if you're new to drifting, I know some of your hard legends here, and you know exactly what I'm going to say here, but if you're new to drifting, a 5-minute rule, we give each of our drivers one 5-minute rule in the top 24 where they can have an opportunity to fix their cars. So 5 minutes once they start working on the cars, so we advise them not to touch the car until they get back into the pit areas where they've got their tools and spare parts, etc.
And plus they only have one 5-minute rule until they hit the top 4. So one 5-minute rule per driver until they reach the semi-finals, and then they are allowed another 5-minute rule before the cars go through. So it's punishment, and they take a beating over the course of the competition. They're going to be getting hotter and hotter as the day goes on, so it is only fair to allow a second 5-minute rule there from the top 4 should they make it that far. But now we have 2 men here looking to make it that far, definitely. Tomas Wiley is in the championship hunt, and he's looking good for this championship should he continue his form. But we have a hard-charging Niall Murray already after putting out Jack Shanahan there in the underpowered E46 Savage and BMW Tommy Smith from TS Drifty. We had an experiment to see how far a top driver could go in a semi-pro car. We got our answer. Niall Murray of Murray Motorsport put an 8 to that experiment very quickly with his very gripped up, very fast S13 Sylvia. We're ready to go. It's 2 S13s, 186 versus S13 Sylvia. And it is Tomas Wiley versus Niall Murray.
Niall Murray there said he was down on power. It looks like he's trying to do back in Wiley here. As Wiley puts foot to the floor and goes on to the wall. Look at this from Wiley. As Niall Murray emerges from the smoke with the transition. Look at Niall Murray here onto the rear quarter of Wiley. Wiley puts foot to the floor again. And starts to power away from Murray.
What a wall rock there from Tomas Wiley. Still trying to get over there. Niall Murray stays right with him. Guys, let's hear from Tomas Kiley and Niall Murray.
Wow.
I'm still trying to get over Tomas Kiley's wall rub there, Rob. I think I got speechless after. What a wall rub.
Yeah, water roller until just drops the top of that spoiler over the top of the wall here, coming up towards tipping point 3. Niall Murray spoke about having down on power. This car had engine issues during the week. It looked like he was slightly down on power, but he made it work there. He stuck with Kiley. You see all the smoke here is waiting for this space slightly. And we're ready to rock for the second half of this battle where Murray will lead in Kiley.
Yeah, but if you remember Tomas Kiley from round 2, he was absolutely stuck to everybody's door, and he's going to have to do that this time. But Niall Murray gets a home shot over the straight. Tomas Kiley's going to have to be a little bit closer, and he is that close. Oh, big contact! Contact on the first corner. Tomas Kiley makes contact with Niall Murray, but he's back in the chase again here. Niall Murray goes very sideways. Tomas Kiley goes very sideways. Niall Murray hits the low pedal here, Rob.
Michael, what happened there?
Oh, what happened there? Are we about to see an upset? Are we about to see the championship leader taking an early exit here and blowing this championship wide open again, just like we saw in the Pro 2 yesterday? The drama just did not stop from the top 32 down to the final. And I'm not sure if Tomas Kiley there made an unforced error up the hill. It is a full throttle section. Niall Murray didn't seem to make any big mistake. Maybe the judges saw something we didn't, Rob, but if he didn't make a mistake, maybe Tomas Kiley there with that aggression might be after going over aggressive here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Was it going to be Dean Kiley's fault or was it going to be Dean Murray's fault? I have a decision though, but first of all, guys, give it up for Tomas Kiley and Niall Murray.
Thank you once again for your appreciation, guys. Of course, this sport takes so much in terms of time, effort, money, everything from your life, and it is great to see your appreciation out here supporting these drivers. So they're out of the car. Once again, guys, let's hear it for Niall Murray and Tomas Kiley. A big battle. Rob, I believe you have a decision.
You have a decision. We can announce going through to the grade 8 is... It's Tomas Kiley!
Tomas Kiley books his place in the grade 8, and we are going to have to go back to the judges. We'll see Niall Murray back at Japfest surely for the final of IDC 2022. He's driven very, very well all weekend. We'll look forward to seeing him back, but we're going to go to our judges. Kevin, there was contact on that one over the 2 runs. Can you explain to us how that one went in Tomas's favour?
Yeah, no problem, Mike. So take it back to the first round there where Tomas was leading and I was chasing. There was proximity on the that we had, but he was massively sacrificing his 9 and that proximity. And in our opinion, there wasn't enough proximity for him to take it back to overall. So with Tomas' fantastic lead, like really comes back to that side advantage for Tomas in the first round. Then he switched around and he comes to the first corner and as you guys know that there was heavy contact. But in our opinion, we can see like
going through to the grade 8. We say goodbye to Niall Murray. We're ready to rock for the second half of this battle between Alan Hines and Lee McFadden.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not sure, like, Alan Hines had that big mistake there around 50.6. I'm not sure if the judges are going to call that a 0 already for Alan Hines, but Lee McFadden is definitely on a 0. Last trip, but 4 wheels off, possibly a steering issue there in the 186. It's all going to come down to whether Alan Hines is on a 0, but we'll find out pretty soon. These drivers won't know either, so Alan Hines is going to go flat out here onto the tour of Lee McFadden here up the hill as Lee McFadden leads us in a little bit of a wobble, and Alan Hines is right there with him. Alan Hines is very shallow, has to grab the handbrake to maintain drift there over the straight, but he's still right there with Lee McFadden. Uses that shallow line to stay on the door. Lee McFadden gets the 186 turn around, is bang on from tipping point 9 and across the line through tipping point 10. Guys, let's hear it for Lee McFadden and Alan Hines.
Guys, give it up for Lee McFadden and Hines in that one there. Put it all on the line for your entertainment here at IDC round 3. Of course, this was a rematch of our semi-final from round 2. We spoke to Alan and Lee about that earlier on, so we'll have to see what the judges make of this one. We'll just wait for our cars to pull to the finishing line here as the decision has just dropped into my ear here now as well. But guys, give it up for Lee McFadden and Alan Hines. We're going to get them out of the cars. Give a big round of applause to have out of the cars here. Put it all on the line for your entertainment this weekend. Give it up for Lee McFadden and Alan Hines.
Alan Hines is so excited he's after forgetting how to get out of his own car. And hugs all round from the drivers, and Rob, we do have a decision.
We have a decision, and going through to the grade 8. It's Alan Hines.
Alan Hines goes through to the grade 8 meeting. Second place man in the championship. Lee McFadden bows out at the top 16 stage. This battle was always going to be a final. And Rob, what a crazy battle, but we are going to go to Kevin O'Connell. Kevin, was that a 0 for Lee McFadden in the first one? Was that the defining factor?
Yes, it was an extremely messy run. Here was Adam's and historically, from our rulebook, what we say is short straightens or reinitiations will be a heavy deduction, but you actually have to completely stop drifting or put 4 wheels off track to receive 0 in the battle position. So while Alan's mistake was a huge deduction and Lee had maybe an 8-2 or 9-1 advantage coming down into the final corner, he went 4 wheels off track, he completely stopped drifting and didn't get complete his runs. Therefore, that large advantage that Lee had was completely turned over, and then Alan had a 10-0 advantage going into the second round.
Thank you very much, Kevin O'Connell, of course, the DMEC head judge there explaining it all. So, it was not a 0 for Alan Hines, meaning that he goes through, knocks out our second place championship standard, Lee McFadden, who probably won't be in second place now after this weekend. As is the nature of drifting, you can never call it. So we are back to the one more time between Alan, full of the lock O'Loughlin, and Christopher, and we are calling him, until we get a better nickname, Rob, Christopher the Machine Dean.
Christopher the Machine Dean. You can't really call him the washing machine Dean as you were earlier on, because there's no washing machine. Not spinning out. Christopher Dean went all the way, taking the win yesterday in the Pro 2 competition here at IDC round 3.
Yeah,
so yeah,
he's got 400 horsepower now under the bonnet. He looks like a better driver all round from this weekend, Rob. There's the more power suiting him, definitely. Alan O'Loughlin there with the 1.5J, and looking always good at Alan O'Loughlin in the fantastically live with O'Loughlin installation 180SX there. So we are pretty much ready to rock. We're just overhearing here from our start line marshal that the chase car can hang back a little bit, but it can't hang back so far now. They are allowed, of course, to jump at the start. They are allowed to go before the lead car, which is perfectly within the rules, Rob, in order to maintain a close proximity on initiation point, but they can't hang back very much either. And it doesn't work in Christopher Dean's favour. They get off the line at the same time. So we have Alan O'Loughlin, Elias in, loses him back up and off the corner on the way, and Christopher Dean is on a nice line up the hill behind him, but he's not very close to him at all, Rob. Alan O'Loughlin has the gap opened up here.
yeah, Alan O'Loughlin just needs to get there between 5 and 6, but Alan O'Loughlin looks for the goal. Spins up those rear tires. Oh, Christopher Dean throws it all the way there, bringing the cone with him. He leaves the cone behind him. Looks like he must have got caught on the cone.
Yeah, it looks like he probably had that cone there in under the wheel arch and prevented those front wheels going into full opposite lock there. So a spin for Christopher Dean, just couldn't get those front wheels into full opposite lock to correct the slide there.
So that's
Sorry, stuck on the back wheel. I'm hearing here that.
I'd say it's like if you put a McDonald's tray underneath your rear tire,
Yes.
that kind of a thing.
Back in the day when you
Back
had a
in the
front wheel
day.
drive and you wanted to go drifting, get the McDonald's trails. I think that's what happened there exactly. So Tommy Smith there updating me with the information, and Alan O'Loughlin here going for a cool down lap now in the 1.5JZ 180SX. Of course, these cars running huge horsepower, about 3 times usually what the manufacturer would have sent them on in the factory with, twice at least, so they've built a lot of heat.
Now, we have to rewind back to our first battle. Of course, it's been one more time. Our first battle, we saw a similar situation. Alan O'Loughlin coming out with an advantage against Christopher Dean, but then he was so aggressive in the chase position. He threw it all the way, forced some contact. There was some contact forcing Christopher Dean to stop drifting, as I would say.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, exactly, Rob. So Alan O'Loughlin didn't have to be quite as crazy and as aggressive as he was in the first battle, for sure, like you mentioned. So let's see, he's going to have his spotter in his ear here, letting him know that you're up 10-0 here, buddy. You can hang back, don't do anything crazy this time. Just do the intelligent chase run, you got this one. So let's see if he does that. Christopher Dean leads us in. Alan O'Loughlin goes for the door. Typical Alan O'Loughlin style. He's not hanging back up.
transitions back here. Christine making a bit of a wobble here. We're looking at O'Loughlin right there on the door of Christopher Dean.
He doesn't need to do this, Rob, but he is right there on Tuesday. Alan O'Loughlin's side. He's the faster car here, definitely, Rob. I'm not sure. Possibly Christopher Dean might be on road tyres there still from yesterday, and Alan O'Loughlin might be on the semi-sticks, but he did look like he had the pace there, and Alan O'Loughlin looking good for this one after that mistake from Christopher Dean in the first run.
Yeah, I mean, Alan O'Loughlin learning all there from the first battle. He put the dive on there, put into our bottom hairpin, but he didn't put on it the level of aggression he did for the first one. No contact made. This one might be a bit clear cut here, but we'll wait for the judges' scores to drop in and we'll wait for the guys to come back in.
So guys, let's hear it for Christopher Dean down there on track in front of you. He's our rookie champion from the 3 rounds so far this year, and he's made it all the way up from the rookie class. It's his first year competing, and he's competing with us here in the pro class and not looking one bit out of place as Alan O'Loughlin gets out of the car over to have a chat and congratulate Christopher Dean. So guys, once again, let's hear it for Christopher Dean and Alan O'Loughlin. And Rob, I do believe we have a result.
We do have a result. We can announce going through to the grade 8 is... It's Alan O'Loughlin! So congrats to Alan O'Loughlin. We say goodbye to Christopher Dean, who still is very much in the hunt for the title championship in the top 10 as well, going out in the top 16. Of course, as we said, our go-to rookie, we'll see him back for Jackfest in about 2 months' time, or about 6 weeks' time, I should say, in October.
Yeah, so the top 8 from the Pro 2 Championship, of course, coming up competing with the pros in Jackfest on the 9th of October on the Sunday, so be sure to get it on for that one, guys. It's always a fantastic event with a fantastic crowd, usually 13,000 people. We have a buy run here. We have in the lines. Unfortunately, we don't have Dylan Garvey back on the line. He had transmission issues there, broke a half shaft or a drive shaft on his battle there. Was looking good, was looking very good, but in the lines here, doing his buy run, just putting in a qualifying and getting that practice lap in, and in the lines looking solid as well.
In the lines, already after taking out Tom Murphy and that very close back. This one's just for show, this one's quite needed now for a bit of fun. He's fucking inside the base in the grade 8, so in the line progresses on to the grade 8 here that you see on through.
There you have it. Alan O'Loughlin takes an automatic position in the grade 8. Unfortunately, Dylan Garvey, not sure if he's got a Nissan back in that so it's a quick change back in, but he did lose some transmission and parts on the way to the top 16, so unfortunately no Dylan Garvey. Alan, in the line, sorry, moves on to the grade 8, and we have an interesting one here. We've got 2 hard chargers here on the line now. We've got Brendan Burke would have battered Sylvia after making it up from yesterday, our 2nd place finisher in the Pro 2 Championship, versus an old head, an old pro of Irish drifting, Chuck Geary, with his new Barra 4-litre straight 6 turbo engine, a 4-bar engine in his 36 BMW. So we are ready to rock. It's Brendan Burke, the higher qualifier, and leads us in. Charlie Geary is not right there with him, Rob. He's making up the gap now, but he's right with him now up the hill.
Yeah, Brendan Burke very straight there as he headed towards the wall. Gary starts to gain back some proximity onto the rear quarter on Brendan Burke as they come with 5 and 6 Burke looking to get wide and 6. Charlie Gary still right there with the Burke takes a great direction there to 8 and 9. And across the line, guys, pick it up for Brendan Burke and Charlie Geary.
What a great one. Lovely chase there from Charlie Geary right on the quarter panel of that S13 of Brendan Burke there as they cross the line. And Brendan Burke possibly also on road tyres. Remember, guys, these lads are using road tyres in the Pro 2 Championship, of course, and the city slicks are on all the pro cars, but I'm not sure if Brendan Burke got some city slicks for himself for today or not. He might be still on the tyres that he was using yesterday. So Charlie Geary definitely looking like he had to go out of the hairpins there, Rob, to stay with the S13.
Yeah, I think Brendan looked a bit shallow here by the wall here. Made a bit of a correction as well, coming out of the hairpin. I think he was a bit wide, missed coming box 6. But judges here did the grading on this one as well, of course. We'll have to see what happens in the second half of this battle. These guys are going for a quick cool down lap, of course, as we've already mentioned. We're like road record at this stage, cannot be temperatures out there today. Very testing, very demanding on these cars, so we'll give them an extra lap to cool down these 2 insane vehicles that are taking part in this top 16 battle here at IDC Red.
Chuck Geary even with the wipers on there, I'm not sure why that is. Hopefully it's not because He's blowing out some coolant on his own windscreen and everything due to temperatures, but hopefully, no, all looks good. I don't see any steam or anything. Maybe he just wants to check if his wiper's working. Because he might be getting ready for later on, Rob, because my forecast said there's a thunderstorm at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll see whose forecast is right. Your forecast, Mike Fitz, or is it going to be Kevin O'Connell's? You've got word from the track marshals?
Right. Chuck Geary has his window washers in the car pointed in under the bonnet to cool down the engine, so his wipers automatically come on when he does like an intercooler water spray back in the day.
Yeah,
so he might actually be having a very intelligent thing to do there. Might be having some water spray on his radiator.
Here we go, Chuck Geary to lead in Brendanburg the second half of this battle. Later on into the box one. Bit of separation so far, but Brendanburg has to lead back in. Chuck Geary as he runs the wall. Charlie Geary runs the wall. Let's take it back from 4 out to this one down to 5. Leading the car wash one. Henry comes to lead to 6 points.
Yeah, Brendan Buck here with a really nice chase. He's not doing a whole lot well, but he doesn't quite have the proximity that Chuck Geary has. And it's a nice lead line there from Chuck Geary as they cross the line. Guys, let's hear it for Chuck Geary and Brendan Burke. Brendan Burke mentioning in our commentary notes that he went balls building this car over the last couple of years. And it would do that to you, Rob. These things are not easy to build, to be honest, to this spec. So Brendan Burke putting everything he had to make for Galway into this car. And I had a moment with him yesterday. I taught Brendan Burke how to drift in the Project Academy about 2 years ago, Rob, and it's great to see him up here now in competition, taking second in the broadcast. But guys, Chuck Geary turning on his wipers with his homemade water cooling spray. Let's hear it from Chuck Geary and Brendan Burke.
Yeah, guys, give it up for Brendan Burke and Charlie Geary here this afternoon, putting it all on the line for your entertainment. Now, one of these guys is going through to the Grade 8 to go up against End Lions, but who is going up against End Lions in the Grade 8? They're out of the cars, guys. Give it up for Brendan Burke and Charlie Geary. We can announce going through to the Grade 8 as the guys talk about their run. It's Charlie Geary.
And that's all she wrote for Brendan Burke for the weekend, but we will see him back at Jetfest as well as a top 8 finisher in Pro 2. Charlie Geary looks like a man who's just won a marathon. He's all ready, he's flustered, but he won the battle, Rob.
Yeah, maybe that bit of ingenuity by pointing the washers and the engine heading off there to Charlie Geary. That's all she wrote to Brendan Burke. That's all I want to say. We'll say goodbye to Brendan Burke. We're ready to run for our next battle. It's 3 battles, or 2 last battle, I should say. All the noise the Brendan Burke says are.
I didn't hear a word of that, Rob, to be honest. But
The crowd heard me. I can't hear myself. I don't know what I said myself, to be honest.
I definitely can't hear you.
Yeah, so we say goodbye to Brendan Burke. We say Charlie Geary goes through to the top 16. There's 2 battles left. This time it's Dean Davey, fresh off the second step of the podium yesterday at IDC round 3 Pro 2. He's going up against Tomas Falvey.
Absolutely, Tomas Falvey, an old pro in Irish drifting as well. He's been drifting down here in Watergrass with nigh on 15 years, I would say, at this stage. Dean Davey at the opposite end of the scale at the start of his drift career, and he's the higher qualifier. He leads us in here, but Tomas Falvey is right with him, and he's making the dive onto the door. Dean Davey is lovely shooting the power. Tomas Falvey hits the board and has a bit of a wobble there. Tomas Falvey with a little bit of a wobble. Dean Davey is looking good here in the lead line, Rob.
Oh, Falvey's too hot in. He got some one this year. Has to step it down. He gets it wrong.
Dean Davey has a misfire. Dean Davey has a misfire and loses drive. Oh, wow, what a messy one. Not sure if Tomas Falvey will be the first man to get a 0 there, but I don't think, not sure if that was a 0 for Tomas Falvey, but 14 Davey shut it down.
Yeah, I don't think so. If we were right back to one of the cameras, it was Alan Hines, that battle where in this case judges had something similar. He didn't make a full spin or full lapse of drift. He kept it going, so it was only a deduction that it wasn't a 0. But
Yeah,
Mike,
so
I hear you've got words. We reckon it might be his boost pipe, Dean Davey, or Dean Davies.
It could be, yeah, possibly. Something like it was misfire there. If the car's on an airflow meter, it would misfire definitely if a boost pipe came off. So we do hear that we have a 5-minute rule here from Dean Davey. He's going to try to get the car back to the pits, get it repaired. Not sure there. Of course, these temperatures, coil packs get hot, Rob. All the electrics get so hot. The ECU itself is even rough. So remember, with Tom Murphy's ECU reading a temperature of 55 degrees within the ECU unit yesterday. So, you know, all this temperature causes all these components to be stressed so much harder. So, and even, Rob, we were saying about a boost pipe, even the silicone and the silicone hoses is even harder. It's so hot and it's got softer, and it's like all the components are under so much pressure in this heat.
Exactly, like, you know, these cars run quite high temperature wise in general. Of course, we're not used to this high temperature that we are seeing here across Ireland over the last couple of days. So these cars are really taking a battering this weekend. So hopefully Dean Davey and the Davey crew can get that car fixed.
Absolutely, and we speak about the cars there a lot and the temperatures. I mentioned there about Chuck Ewing looking red there in the car. Again, I said it earlier, but the temperatures within these cars would be good, possibly, maybe not for Davey because he's got the top down. Davey can driving American side with the top down, but generally all these guys are in close cabins, and the temperatures in the car would be 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees hotter than it would be outside because you have that big engine up the front making all that heat, all the air from the rad, and the exhaust is getting blown in, and the chances of absorbing the shed is really hot. The floor is roasting. I remember I went to the pair of races after 4 hours from the exhaust. So you can imagine, guys, for these lads, they're going through physical work in that car. They've got fireproofs on, race suit on. It's hot in there.
Yeah, I was talking to Father there yesterday. His water pipe is actually running through the car as well. So his rad's in the back of the car, the water bringing the hot water to the rad. He's running through the car, adding all that heat into it. It was absolutely roasting and stuff. I went into it there the other day. I think 5 or 6 degrees is actually a bit under your understatement there. I think it's 10, 15 degrees with hot ambient temperatures. Yeah,
it could be, but Dave Egan is one of the coolest guys on the grid because he has the top off of that Corvette. Yeah, the target top on that Corvette, so he will be running a little bit cooler. He's facing off here against David Curtis. Remember, Dave Egan's car has been repaired. He's had no practice. The back of that car is literally welded back together, but he's right there with David Curtis up the hill. Look at this from Dave Egan. He's not on any angle, but he is right with David Curtis. He's taken David Curtis's back bumper off against the wall. I'm not sure, but Dave Egan has to stand on the brakes but gets back going in the Corvette. Wow, Rob, look at this from Dave.
Wow, what a ride. No, Dave, he shuts it down. He's very straight there. I don't know what to Dave give it all away there. I think he was very close proximity wise, but his angle was very shallow to gain that proximity.
Yeah, he was very shallow angle wise, of course. The judges will have said to the drivers in briefing that they want him to match the lead car's angle wherever possible. Dave definitely was very close, but he was quite shallow and had a massive mistake there around tipping point 9 where he pretty much had to stop up and straight line it because he was so close to Dave Curtis. But it looks like to me, Rob, that he had a lot of pace there on Dave Curtis. This Corvette looks to be really hooked up. He's got a lot of grip in the back of it. I'm not sure if he's going to get away from Dave Curtis here on the lead run. He looks like he's very fast.
Yeah, but then you look back at this last corner here, and they made a big mistake there coming into the last corner, very straight there between 8, 9 and out towards 10. So we'll have to see if the judges see something. Was he hampered by the lead car? I don't think he could have been. So at that stage, I think it was Dave's fault. It was Dave's fault at that stage.
Dave's fault.
It was Dave's fault. Just saying how it is. That's fine to go home with Dave's fault. You never know which day it is, but we'll know.
Yeah, so Dave Egan is to lead us in, of course. Dave Curtis, the higher qualifier, with the advantage of leading first, and of course the advantage being that your spotter can tell you in your ear exactly how hard to go in the chase position after you've had your first run. So Dave Egan there, just making sure all is right here on the Corvette. And we should be ready to rock for the second half of this battle in a second. We're putting a clipping point going back, which was taken all the way down to the start-finish line from clipping point 9 there.
Yeah, so guys, give you a round of applause to our IDC TS Drift Days marshals here this weekend. They're out there in the heat for the last 2 or 3 days, making sure the show stays on the road. So big thanks to all of the IDC TS Drift Days track team who are out here keeping the show on the road. And as we're about ready to rock here, David Egan probably slight disadvantage after the first round. Here we go, David Egan. Look at this, he's putting a massive gap on David Curtis already.
Yeah, just as I thought, Dave Egan looks to be really, really fast in this Corvette. He's gone way up the track from Dave Curtis. As they pin it over the shape, Dave Egan is gone miles from David Curtis here for whatever reason. I'm not sure. David Egan looking good now over the shape here. And absolutely runs away with this, and he's on a lovely line. Dave Curtis is also on a really nice line there, but he's got no answer for Dave Egan. Rob, Dave Curtis came up from Pro 2?
Yes, came up from Pro 2 yesterday.
So I think Dave Curtis might be on road tires. Dave Egan looks to be on semi sticks. So we do have a bit of a double whammy in this. We had Dave Egan with the massive mistake there at clip 9 because he possibly just couldn't stay behind Dave Curtis because he had so much extra pace on him. But then you switch him around, and in the next battle, Dave Egan absolutely ran away with it. Was Carlins ahead of Dave Curtis there. But guys, they can hear you in the cars. Let's hear it for Dave Egan and Dave Curtis.
They're going to pop out of the cars, guys. Give them a round of applause. they're out there suffering for ye inside in these absolute sweat boxes this afternoon.
So Dave Egan trying to get out of his car. Right. So we do have a result, guys, going through to the Great 8. Dave goes through to the Great 8. Sorry, I had to. Going through to the Great 8. It is a Dave, but it's Dave Egan going through to the Great 8. David Curtis, that is all she wrote for him. But we will be back with Dave Curtis surely as is he a top 8 finisher, Rob? We'll have to work it out. We might see him back at Japfest, but we will see more Dave Egan as the battles progress. We'll see him in the top 8. So that Corvette is looking good, even though the back right is welded back together. It looks like he's dealing with it pretty well, Rob.
Yeah, David Egan doing quite well so far with that damaged and battered and bruised car. So that is the final of our...
It is the last battle of the top 16.
Dean Davies Moss Valley battle here.
We do, and I've just heard that Dean Davies on the way back out. He got that car fixed with 30 seconds on the clock, so 30 seconds left for Dean Davy, and he has got it fixed at that length of time. But Rob, we're going to have to see. Tomas Falvey had a big mistake there on that one, but Dean Davy had an even bigger one, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there with Tomas Falvey. Will it be a 0? Will it not? We'll have to see what the judges say when they are both back out and up here in front of us. So Dean Davy, is that him down there on the grid? It is indeed, yeah. He's down there on the grid. I think they're just triple checking everything there. He seems to be okay. He was ready to rock with 30 seconds left on his 5-minute clock there, so hopefully all is right there on Dean Davy's car.
Yeah, so Dean Davy there getting that car fixed and ready to rock for the second half of this battle. Of course, we don't know what happened there in the first battle, or first half of the battle I should say. If we rewind to that, it was a case that Falvey got it wrong coming into the lower Clinton box, and then it just fit to lose a boost pipe here or something.
Yeah, as Dean Davy shows experience beyond his years there, warming his front tyres, understeering them around the hairpin there, getting some heat into those front tyres from the friction generated by understeer. So very important to have that front grip as well. Even though we are in very high temperatures here, these cars are running so much rear grip that you have to have the front gripped up as well.
We do indeed. We're ready to rock. The Saturday Marshal drops the hand. Here we go. Tomas Falvey and Dean Davy for the second half of this battle. What happened here, Mike?
Yeah, big mistake there from Dean Davy. Tomas Falvey takes out the clipping point 1 from clipping point 2, with Tomas Falvey doing it all right here in the lead position. Dean Davy with a massive mistake, and looks like Dean Davy's gremlins return. Yeah, Dean Davy's gremlins return. It was a vacuum pipe, unfortunately, there off the turbo. One of the vacuum lines came off, so Dean Davy looks like those gremlins returned when the pressure was on there during battle and the car was under full boost there, Rob. So Dean Davy suffering a double mechanical failure there.
Yeah, but this car has been through the wars here over the last 2 days. You know, Dean pushing it really, really hard yesterday, all the way to the final, putting it up against Christopher Dean in the final, eventually emerging in second place. So this car has been, it's been through the wars, it's battled and bruised, it's held on until this point. It's kind of said, right, no more for me. So we'll give them a chance to get back up to the finish line here, or to our results line, where we will announce the winner of this battle. But first of all, guys, give it up for Tomas Falvey and Dean Davy.
So we can announce, guys, that the winner and going through, booking their place in the Great 8, it's Tomas Falvey going through to the Great 8. And that's all she wrote from Dean Davy, but he does take on 3 trophies from yesterday. He'll be happy with his weekend. We'll see him back in Mandela Park, and we will see Tomas Falvey back very, very shortly for Great 8 action.
1, 2. So we're just going to check one of our audio pieces of equipment here. Seems to be gone down slightly in volume, but we'll get that sorted there now in about 2 seconds time.
Absolutely, Rob. So all action in the top 16 there, and we are ready to rock for the Great 8, I do believe.
Yeah, we're about ready to rock here for the Great 8.
Yeah, so the first battle up, and of course these guys now, some of them are after winning 2 battles if they have come through from that top 24 battle bracket. or else they have won one battle in terms of Archie Harmer here. He came straight into the top 16, and he, you know, Rob, everybody's hot at this stage. It's the Grade 8, it's pro competition. It's IDC, Rob. The level is always high here, and it seems to be getting higher and higher as we go through this season. It's going to be a very, very good one here with Archie Harmer and Alan O'Loughlin, Alan O'Loughlin on the line indeed. So, Rob, I'm not sure. We haven't seen much of Archie Harmer yet in the chase position, but he's looking very, very good in the lead.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw Archie's lead, or his chase run, in the last battle where he went up against Darren McElroy. And we just felt that Archie, I suppose, didn't seem to have the same experience in the chase position as he did in the lead run. His lead run is really dialed in, but he didn't seem to be, you know, he was making slight mistakes in the chase position. So we'll have to see what he can do here.
Absolutely, yes. So we are almost ready to rock here for our first battle from the Grade 8, guys, and I hope you're enjoying the day here in the sunshine in Watergrass Hill. Hopefully those forecasted thunderstorms stay away, but if they do come, it'll be a nice refreshing drop of rain, and it'll bring all that drama towards the finals. But we are ready to rock here with Archie Harmer to lead us in. Alan O'Loughlin is hitting the low pedal and getting right up there with him up the hill as they go through Slipping Point 2 there, and Archie Harmer goes right out to the wall, and Alan O'Loughlin makes the early dive very early. He's going to have to drag it out, and he does, but he loses all the speed. Unfortunately, he just goes too early there for Alan O'Loughlin, makes the dive too early and gets caught out. Archie Harmer has gone away with this one, and they cross the line. Rob, Alan O'Loughlin dived very, very early there and just couldn't get the 180SX all the way over through the first hairpin.
Yeah, very aggressive there from Alan O'Loughlin. Just couldn't get the car slowed down, but he did get the car slowed down, but he slowed it so much that he just lost drift, and that was all she wrote really for Alan O'Loughlin. It won't be a zero, but it definitely will be a big disadvantage to him in this first half of the battle, I should say. I'm going to swap it around though. It's going to be Archie to chase in Alan this time around. Archie's our first place qualifier earlier on this morning in qualifying, but he wasn't the best in his chase position earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. He didn't look that comfortable in the chase position, Rob, in the Auto Finesse E36 BMW there. Is Alan O'Loughlin in the O'Loughlin Insulation, one of our title sponsors, of course, in IDC. The O'Loughlin Insulation 180SX, he keeps his tyres warm there and maybe plays a little bit of mind games here with Archie. He's like, don't worry, buddy, I'm right behind you here, and you're going to have to do something special to beat me in this one here, because I'm right with you.
He is indeed, of course. Archie Harmer making the trip over from the UK, looking to take down some of the Irish here, of course. There's been a number of rivalries across the number of years here for the Irish Shift Championship. Alan O'Loughlin says, right, I'm fed up with sitting behind you, I'm going to overtake you, I'm going to pull to the line, and this time it's Alan O'Loughlin to lead in Archie Harmer.
Yeah, Archie Harmer, our top qualifier, of course, gets that advantage of that first run, and that mistake from Alan O'Loughlin there could be a telling factor in this battle, and that is the advantage of qualifying higher and leading first. He knows that he doesn't have to go so hard, but he does seem to have, he misses a gear off the line. Archie Harmer maybe has thrown it all away and misses a gear off the line as Alan O'Loughlin leads us up the hill and absolutely rubs the wall in the 180SX. Archie Harmer has problems. Archie Harmer shuts it down. It's going to be a zero for Archie Harmer, and he has major problems, and Alan O'Loughlin might be after getting a get out of jail free card here, Rob.
Yeah, so it all boils down to a battle of mistakes. Again, we'll have to see what the judges make about that first run. Was Alan O'Loughlin scoring a zero from losing full drift? He did actually come to a stop for a slight second, so we'll have to see what the judges scored that first run on. But it's going to be a 10-0 in the second one.
You mentioned there, Rob, we went back to Alan Hines' mistake there earlier, that he didn't actually get a zero for it. Now, Alan O'Loughlin's mistake there looked really similar to Alan Hines' mistake. It's a massive deduction. It might even be a 9-1. But it might not be a zero.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially it's the case, judges are going to have to make that decision.
So we just heard here from our head marshal, Sean Healy. Archie Harmer only had second gear. Everything else is gone in that gearbox. So only second gear for Archie Harmer. Obviously missed his gears there coming off the line. Maybe he went for third or something, got nothing, went back to second and got going, but has no other gears than second gear. So unfortunately it's heartbreak from Archie Harmer from the UK, driving so well here, qualifying in first position, but that might be all she wrote. So we'll have to see if Alan O'Loughlin's mistake was a zero, in which case they will go one more time, but it's definitely a zero for Archie.
Yeah, scores just dropped into my ear here in the tower. Guys, first of all, give it up for Alan O'Loughlin and Archie Harmer.
It's hammer time.
Alright, we can announce going through to the first of our semi-finals in the final four is It's Alan O'Loughlin.
Alan O'Loughlin delighted to book his place in the top 4. He's having a fantastic weekend. Guys, let's hear it all the way over from the UK for the young man Archie Harmer, driving like a champion all weekend. He's got a big future ahead of him in that BMW, so hopefully we'll see him back here for competition very, very soon. Kevin, as he does, what I presume has to be a second gear burnout, Rob.
Yeah, second gear, box for the neutrals with the second gear.
So Kevin O'Connell, very, very quickly, that's a pretty obvious one. Not a 0 for Alan O'Loughlin on that one.
Exactly. Going back to our previous battle spot, we said a big correction like that Alan had on the second corner, the first hairpin there, was a massive advantage to Harmer, but it wasn't the 10-0. You switch him around then, unfortunately Archie had a complete shutdown, so he did have a 10-0 advantage. So while it was quite close, Alan gets the win overall.
Thank you very much, Kevin. That explains that one there. We are ready to move it back to the line, Mike. Though,
we are.
News here, Mike.
Just yeah, sorry, Rob, I cut across you there, but just some news. The lads had to push Alan O'Loughlin's car back to the pit stop. Not sure what's wrong with it yet, but Alan O'Loughlin will be looking to get that fixed because he is after booking a place in the top 4, of course. But we have what could be a final here on the line. It's a massive battle. It is 2 champions of champions. It's Alan Hines leading in. Tomas Kiley. Look at Tomas Kiley.
Look at Kiley here, right on the corner of Alan Hines as they run the wall. Flick it back to the floor. Look at Kiley again. He's going to drive back to the door of Hines. Look at this for chase driving. Tomas Kiley's like a dog with a ball, but Alan Hines has the power to wear it. Alan's doing exactly what he was doing in the near position. Close to a 100-point run. Wow, Mike.
What a Grasil, are you not entertained? What a chase run from Tomas Kiley, not giving an inch there to Alan Hines. He could have put his hand out the window and tapped his bonnet there on initiation, Rob.
He could have.
Well, if it was left hand drive.
If it was left hand drive. All right, but you're right. Tomas Kiley was so aggressive in the chase position there. We saw that from Tomas in round 2. He was so aggressive chasing Fiona Roach in that semi-final. And like Alan Hines wants to cause an upset here today. He went all the way to semi-finals, ended up losing out to Fiona Roach in the 3rd and 4th place at round 2. He missed round 1, so he's trying to make up for lost time here. Tomas Kiley currently is number 1 in the championship. Alan Hines has already knocked out number 2 in the championship. Can he knock out number 1 in the championship as well?
Can he knock out number 1, Rob? Exactly, but he's going to have to do something very, very, very special to top that chase run there from Tomas Kiley. And guys, thank you so much for sharing in today with us and supporting Irish drifting. Of course, what a fantastic institution this sport is in this country, and it's the hardcore people are here today. A lot of people would go to the beach today, Rob, or whatever, but they would be missing out on this kind of action down here in Watergrass Hill as we are ready to go. And Alan Hines gets the jump on Tomas Kiley. Watch this one, guys. Alan Hines knows that he's under pressure here. Look at this for an initiation from Alan Hines as he leads us up the hill. Tomas Kiley is doing all he can, but right there
taps the wall. Kiley taps the wall. Hines stays in and onto the door. Look at this, Hines. Oh no! It's just a down. Kiley keeps going.
Alan Hines doing everything he can, and maybe he was just doing too much, Rob, and that car was so close to Tomas Kiley's car. He might have just gone for the little bit of a correction there and lost drift, Rob, understeered. And that could be it, but I hear the judges aren't deliberating here. Kevin O'Connell saying that he was watching one thing. He's looking for the judges to tell him exactly what happened because he was watching the other car. So possibly not that clear cut here, but Rob, what a battle.
What a battle. I'd like to see the rear of Kiley's car. You'll see it here. He definitely tagged that wall here. I'd say he might have wheel damage. He tagged that wall. Thumbs up from Tomas Kiley, thumbs up from Alan Hines. They enjoyed that one. That one was like a final, guys. Give it up for Tomas Kiley and Alan Hines.
What a pair of drivers we're being treated to here, guys. This one could be the final all day long. And it would be worthy of any pro final we've ever seen in IDC over the years here. But I do hear the judges, they're actually deliberating here. I would say, no, they're not. Okay, they were just having a chat, sorry.
Having a chat, I've got it in my ear here. The result has just dropped in, but first we'll get the lads out of the cars. Guys, give it up for Tomas Kiley and Alan Hines. So, we can announce going through to the final is final 4, I should say. It's Tomas Kiley
Tomas Kiley books his place in the final four. That's all she wrote for Alan Hines. We'll see him back in Mondello Park surely. Alan Hines does the universal kind of a shimmy there, saying, I went for the steering, nothing happened. Of course, we need that front grip in these cars to get them steered around with all the rear grip that they're pushing. So guys, let's hear it for Alan Hines, a fantastic driver, came from sim racing. He was judging here yesterday, he's competing today, he's a top driver, but unfortunately didn't have enough on the day for Tomas Kiley, who looks pretty much, Rob, looks like a champion of this series in the making. Who's going to beat Tomas Kiley?
Yeah, who's going to beat Tomas Kiley? We thought Dylan Garrity might be able to replicate his BDC dual wins over the last 2 rounds of BDC, but of course bowing out with mechanical issues, didn't even make it to the top 16, Dylan Garvey. So Kiley's left in competition, Alan O'Loughlin's left in competition. They're going up against each other in the semi-final. We move it back to the line where we have an informed Charlie Geary going up against another man who's informed, who's gone through Tom Murphy. It's Enda Lyons.
Yeah, it's Cork versus Galway in this one here. Chuck Geary, with all the years of experience under him, started off with the ex-Bonbon from Driftworks Chaser and made his way into the BMW chassis in the Lions chasing win, but then Barra 4-litre turbo engine, the straight 6 is pulling Chuck Geary up the hill here, but in the Lions is right with it with the SR20. Listen to this SR20 in the Lions was an early initiation again on the transition and actually makes it work. In the Lions has made the dive on Chuck Geary's quarter panel, has to hit the front brake, makes a mistake there.
Wow, what a battle there. I don't know, Enda Lyons had all the proximity there, but he gained that proximity by sacrificing Lyons, so I think the judges are going to penalise him for that one. But again, what do we know? We're just commentators.
In the Lions, in between the Lions?
Between the Lions is right there. Chuck Geary doing exactly what he needs to do there, running that close to 100-point run as possible.
He did indeed, and you know, another thing there, in the Lions was going for that, he did a crazy great transition there and a lovely dive onto the door before the first hairpin, but on the second hairpin, thank you guys for your appreciation. On the second hairpin then, In the Lions was about to try to do the same thing and he just went too aggressive. I saw he gave it a dab of the foot brake there, you could see the nose of the car just going down a bit, and he did have to straighten up a little bit there, so it was a nice mistake behind Chuck Geary.
Yeah, I think it's all going to boil back down to this straight here in front of us. I think Enda Lyons really sacrificed his line, made an early transition to try and dive onto the door of Charlie Geary, and I don't think the judges are going to reward him as much as he thought for doing that. So we'll have to see what they'll do as we swap them around. This time it will be Enda Lyons to lead in Charlie Geary for the second half of this grade 8 battle here. Of course, the winner of this battle will go through to the semi-finals where they will take on either Tomas Falvey or David Egan.
Absolutely, yeah, as these the cars must be getting through crazy temperatures right now with the sun facing down on them now, as we're all going through crazy temperatures, but these guys spare a thought for them inside the car in fireproofs and a full race suit. In the Lions gets us off the line, he gets a quick jump off the line here. Chuck Geary needs to get closer, he makes a bit of a dive on initiation, but In the Lions is on a lovely line up the hill here. Chuck Geary sacrifices David by 3, drops a wheel. Chuck Geary though doing all he needs to do with the chase position. Rob, you think that he's had a big advantage after the first run as In the Lions hits the low bend as the 186. And the SR20 doing all it can here. Chuck Geary gets very, very tight over the second last tipping point, and guys across the line, it's In the Lions and Chuck Geary there. Chuck Geary, Rob, you think that his spotter might have been in his ear there telling him that Inda's made big mistakes there, you don't have to go that hard.
I think Enda really sacrificed line, as I said there, between 3, 4 and 5 in the first run. But then you boil it back, or you bring it back to the second battle there. Chuck didn't have very much proximity there. I don't think he had the option really. I think he just didn't have the legs. So we'll have to see, is it going to be line or proximity? Judge is still deliberating on this one. There's fingers being pointed. There's a bit of deliberation on here. Some debating going on, we'll say.
Yeah, so Kieran Stack, Kevin O'Connell and Kieran Hines there are judges. Kieran Stack, a long-term drift competitor, of course, no stranger to the sport, did it with about 15 years as well. Kevin O'Connell, head judge at DMEC, and Kieran Hines, the longest serving judge in the world, I would say, at this stage. So we're blessed with a fantastic judging panel. But guys, down on the line there one more time. After these cars are finished warming their tyres, let's hear it for In the Lions and Chuck Geary. So Chuck Geary there putting his gear into the back of that ever practical E36 touring BMW. And all the practicality to go to the shops and bring home the messages in that machine, Rob.
Yes, indeed. Scores just dropping in here.
And Chuck Geary gives himself some water spray that was usually reserved for his radiator. Do you want some there in there? Nice sportsmanship there from Chuck Geary, cooling himself down as well as his car. So do we have a result, Rob?
Do we have a result? End the Lions, you're going to need it. You're going through to the final four. We say goodbye to Charlie Geary. End the Lions goes through.
Well done, Charlie Geary, to get that car going and give us all fantastic entertainment. But In the Lions is the man going through to the top four. He'll be delighted with his weekend as well. So we have Alan O'Loughlin and In the Lions, 2 men from the west as well as we go back. Kieran Hines, that was a very close one. We saw some sacrificing of line there and things to get on the door. But can you explain to us how In the Lions got through there?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the first round there, okay, Charlie had a good lead line. There was no major issues there. It was kind of a messy chase. Now, he had proximity through the run, and he did a really, kind of aggressive dive into the first hairpin, but it was a bit unorthodox, and it was a little bit messy. But still, it was enough maybe to come away with a kind of an even enough run. When we swapped it around though, Inda again had a similar line to Charlie's the first one, but Charlie really didn't get the proximity. And the other big issue I had with Charlie's chase was going into the first hairpin, he had a big cut. He actually cut to the inside the track to maintain proximity. So he's on a disadvantage for that. So Inda takes a 6-4 on the second one.
So there you have it from Kieran Hines, explained in detail exactly how In the Lions made his way into the top four. As we move it along, we've got a big one. These guys would be good buddies. They know each other a long time through the drifting. Dave Egan would have commentated on Tomas Falvey many times, but they're going to do battle here head to head. It's Dave Egan, the higher qualifier, to lead us in. Tomas Falvey in the chase position with the broken heel. Don't forget, we've got a broken car versus a broken heel. Dave Egan is coming up the hill fast, but Tomas Falvey is right there with him. He's waving around back. Tomas Falvey is waving around, but Dave Egan doing everything he can here in the lead position. Oh, runs very wide. Tomas Falvey had to sacrifice there, Rob.
Yeah, Tomas Falvey at the back of the man with the avoid contact there after David Egan makes the mistake. But they keep in it, they stay on, and the rest of the battle was on point there from both drivers. Bit of a wobble there from Falvey coming in between 2 and 3, but then a mistake by Egan in the bottom hairpin here.
Yeah, and don't forget guys, Dave Egan's car had a bottom control arm broken in 2 halves after that contact with the wall earlier on, and all those camber and toe arms, not sure to set up exactly on the back of the Corvette, but all the control arms on the back seem to have broken or pulled ball joints out of sockets. So that car is basically welded back together and just set up very roughly geometry wise on the back right. So possibly that was leading to Dave Egan there not having the perfect suspension geometry and just having a mistake. But Tomas Falvey had a couple of waivers up the hill, but he did have to take evasive action, didn't Rob, around the first hairpin there. And I would say that mistake from Dave is going to be a little bit bigger than Tomas's mistake up the hill.
Yeah, we're also hearing word that there might have been contact here, so we're just hearing from our track marshals to see if there was contact that caused that. Judges looking to see if there was contact, so we'll get word from our track marshals in just a second on that.
Yeah, so possibly contact that we would have missed here. We don't have the perfect view of that hairpin there because, of course, the cars are kind of at their furthest point from us there, and it's they're going directly away from us just at the point that potential contact happens, so we don't have a perfect perspective. So we are relying on the track marshals, which we have briefed, of course, to keep a very close eye on proceedings and relay any critical information like that back up to the tower here, up to the judges, so that they can make the right call on exactly what happened there. But we are ready to rock, and they are ready to go. They get the heads up from the start line. Marshal Dave Egan is chasing in. Tomas Falvey in the lead position.
Yes, he is. Falvey drives the handbrake kick. Dave Egan still right there with him as they push the floor, running out towards the wall. Dave Egan doesn't seem to have the proximity here. He's going to have to make a dive if he wants to make Falvey make a mistake. He does make a dive onto the rear quarter of Falvey's door.
He absolutely does a very nice dive there from Dave Egan, but is it enough? Tomas Falvey doing everything right here in the lead position, and what a run there from both drivers, guys. Let's hear it from Tomas Falvey and Dave Egan.
Wow, what a run there from both of those guys.
Yeah, great run there. Tomas Falvey, of course, an absolute gentleman of drifting, one of the nicest guys you could meet, but in the car then he's a totally different animal. He's a crazy driver, but a very consistent driver as well, generally, Rob, to be fair. So Dave Egan there doing all he could in the chase position, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough after that big mistake in the first hairpin in the first hairpin in the first run. So Dave Egan with the top down here and putting on a show on that Corvette as always. What a fantastic looking car. Something very different here that we've never seen before in Ireland. So when they get out of the car, guys, we're going to get you to give them a round of applause as soon as they get out, so they can hear you now, guys. Let's hear it for Tomas Falvey and Dave Egan.
So give it up for David Egan and Tomas Falvey. We can announce going through to the semi-finals. When you're looking like that, it's Tomas Falvey.
He was busy at Westlife the other night, I believe.
He was indeed. That's a bit of a pun thrown in there. Mr. Tomas Falvey is a fan of the old Westlife. He's going through on his Westlinks, I think, to the final four.
Absolutely.
Against the Lions. We say goodbye to David Egan in that battered and bruised Corvette.
And once again, guys, don't forget to check out the Drift Games guys content on YouTube and all over social media. They'll have all the background of what was going on exactly this weekend and all the drama of car breakages and all the accidents and everything and putting that car back together. So you can catch all that during the week on the Drift Games vlog. As we go back to the judges there, just for a quick explanation on this one.
Yeah, for us, I think it really comes back down to the first run there. You saw major aggression from Falvey all the way throughout the run, right on Dave Egan's door all the way throughout. But what it really comes down to for me is a major slow up by Dave Egan in the lead position on the first hairpin, causing Tomas as well to stall up as well. He did very well to deal with it and immediately got back on Dave's door. After that, he had a huge advantage going into the second run, and unfortunately Dave Egan just wasn't able to overturn that advantage, and it ended up being a 5-5 for the second run. So overall, Falvey gets the win.
There you have it. Thanks very much, Kevin O'Connell. That's exactly how Tomas Falvey has gone through to our semi-finals, and we say goodbye to David Egan in that battered and bruised Drift Games Corvette. Mike, looking forward to these next battles. Who have we got? We've Alan O'Loughlin, we've Tomas Kiley, we've Enda Lyons, and another Tomas Falvey.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've just heard here, guys, there's news coming from the pits. Unfortunately, we did hear Alan O'Loughlin was getting pushed into the pits there. And unfortunately, from the man there from Galway in the O'Loughlin Insulation 180SX, there is a problem with that car, and he's not going to be able to make it out for the semi-final. So unfortunately, guys, we lose Alan O'Loughlin from competition. So we're going to see Tomas Falvey doing a whole pile of warming up on any front tyres there. So let's, just as I said, here he goes, yeah. Just getting some unders here through those front tyres, hopefully, and getting some temperature into them. But again, Rob, it's very hard to kind of explain this, but these cars are so gripped up. They don't want to drift. The pro cars do not want to drift, hence why they go so fast when they are sideways. The drivers have to push them past the limits. They don't want to drift, but we're ready to rock for our first real semi-final. And it is a semi-final worthy of IDC. Tomas Falvey leading in the lines who makes the dive onto the door. He's very shallow, Rob, but he's right there with Tomas Falvey.
Look at this from Falvey, runs the wall, but then the Lions right there with him. Bit of a straight there for the Lions, but he dives onto the door, cuts the track slightly up as Falvey starts to power away. But a correction from Falvey there between 8 and 9. Look at this, the Lions is going to have to dive onto the door of Falvey. He does, and he takes the second fight going with him. What a run right there.
What a run, what a finish from in the Lions there. Cutting the lines to make it onto the door of Tomas Falvey, but doing a fantastic job of it there with the SR20 in the 180SX. Rob, I'm going to say it's not that often that you actually see in pro competition an SR20 in an S chassis make it into the finals these days, because there's so many 6-cylinders dominating the sport these days. But in the Lions doing it for the SR boys.
Yeah, Enda Lyons making it work there, being very aggressive in the chase run there against Tomas Falvey. They're going to take a cool down lap, of course, as we've said time and time again today. It is quite warm for these cars, so they're going to take a cool down lap. Mentioned that Tomas Falvey actually has the RAD's water pipe running through the car, so that's adding, it's like having basically a RAD at home inside your car in the middle of the heat, and then on top of it you're inside in the fireproof. So yeah, they're going to take an opportunity to cool down those cars. So they'll swap it around, and it will be Enda Lyons to lead in Tomas Falvey for the second half of this battle. If we boil back down to our top 24, Mike, both of these guys won in their, they didn't qualify in the top 8, I should say, so they had to go through the top 24. As we said, maybe they've got the experience of that extra battle.
Yeah, maybe that extra battle experience is showing here, because they've made it into our semi-finals. Tomas Falvey stopped here on track now. Hopefully it's not an issue for him. Looks like he's getting going in, maybe just getting his gear sorted there or something, or speaking with his spotter, quite possibly just stopping there to get some advice on the radio. Of course, these guys will have a pair of eyes and ears on the side of the track hooked up to them on the radio into the car to tell them exactly what to do in the second half of the battle. And a good spotter, Rob, will get in your ear, get you in the right frame of mind, tell you what's going on with your opponent and what your opponent is likely or unlikely to do.
Yeah, but it looks like Tomas Falvey has got a problem here. We've got Kevin Ilhan, our starting marshal, going over to check and see what is actually going on with Falvey here. We'll get word from our track controller Sean Healy in just a second and see, is Falvey going to have to call a 5-minute rule, or is he ready to rock for the second half of this battle?
And of course, both bonnets on these Silvias as well. It's unusual to see a bonnet on the car today. Of course, the reason being to let all that air that hot air that just rises, let it up out of the way. So Tomas Falvey hopefully is okay to go. It might be just a temperature issue here, but yeah, looks like we are ready to go. I do think, Rob.
Yeah, it looks like we're ready to rock. Thumbs up from the starting master, drops the hand, and the Lions pulls away from the line, and Tomas Falvey to chase in, big flick entry from the Lions. But look at this from Falvey, he's right at the door. Bit of a correction there from Falvey, and the Lions correcting as well. Out towards the wall. Back in the box from here for Falvey. Gonna have to make a dive here, Mike.
Yeah, he made a dive, but he couldn't hold it just as I said about warming front tyres before the battle. Tomas Falvey goes for a load of steering wheel, gets nothing in return from the front tyres, and just washes out with the front of that car there, and looks like Robbie might not have had enough temperature in the front tyres. These cars are so gripped up on the back with those semi-slick tyres running such low pressures that the front end often pushes as a result. So it looks like there Tomas Falvey made the dive and the front end just didn't have enough purchase to readjust there on the angle, and he washed out, and that might be all she wrote for Tomas.
Yeah, but we also saw, remember that Tomas has got a broken right heel here. Like, you know, he spent 2 days of practicing on Friday, practice yesterday, and driving today. You know, if you see Tomas walking around, he's limping, like, so maybe just couldn't put the pressure on the brake pedal.
Yeah, that's a really good point actually, Rob. I forgot there, Tomas Falvey. So guys, let's hear from Tomas Falvey, driving with a broken heel anyway, first of all. And it could have been his Achilles heel in this battle, possibly, Rob. And guys, let's hear from Tomas Falvey, and in the Lions, your semi-finalists for round 3 of IDC 2022. And Rob, are we getting some results?
Yes, the results have just dropped in, and I can announce going through to the final to face off against Tomas Kiley it's Enda Lions!
Enda Lions going through, having a dream weekend for Enda Lions. He's going to be delighted with this, going through to the final. But guys, we're going to see Tomas Falvey back on action for the third, fourth place playoff. Or actually, we don't have one because we don't have Alan O'Loughlin. Yes. Sorry, my voice went into muscle memory there, so we don't actually have a third place, fourth place battle to go through because we don't have an Alan O'Loughlin who broke his car there. Not sure he finished the battle, of course, but had to get pushed off there, so unfortunately
they're going to warm up the tyres for the final battle of the day. Now, before we get to that point, are you still with us? Are you ready for the final battle of the day? Ah, come on, you can do better than that. People down on the bank over here, can we hear you? Are you ready for the final battle of the day? Grandstand, are you ready for the final battle of the day? We're ready to rock here, Mike, for the final battle of the day. Is it going to be Kiley? Is it going to be Lions? Who is it going to be?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't like to face off against Tomas Kiley in the form he's in, but in the Lions is after taking the jump. He does the intelligent thing. He's up for this battle. He's right there with Tomas Kiley. But Tomas Kiley puts down the shoe with the 2JZ. But in the Lions is right with him here, Rob.
He is indeed. Kiley makes the play left. A big transaction back 2-4 onto the handbrake. Kiley dials on the angle, but in the Lions is still right there with him as they just put the floor over the second hairpin. Lions trying to fall back here. The second at the back with horsepower. Kiley running as close to the 100-point qualifying run as he can. But Mike, what a run from both drivers.
What a run from both drivers. They're worthy of a final, and I couldn't even hear myself think there over the 2JZ of Tomas Kiley. But guys, I'm going to call it here as we go for a cool down lap from In the Lions. Get the camera phones out. This is going to be a special chase run up the hill from Tomas Kiley. He's going to want to win this one, Rob. He's going to want to take home that silverware. He's going to want to take home those 25 points for the championship. So he's going to put this one to bed if he's got anything to do with it. I would say get out the phones.
Get out the phones. Get up off your chairs. Stand up. Stop your feet. Are you ready for the final run of the day here at IDC round 3? Is it going to be Kiley? Is it going to be Lions? Kiley, how far is he going to extend his championship? Is Lions going to upset the championship and take the win here in his maiden pro final? Who's it going to be, Mike?
Oh, I don't know. The Lions didn't do a whole pile wrong there. Did definitely have a little bit of a straight there on the transition just in front of us here, in front of the grandstand, but I'm not sure was it enough to get a big points deduction. He's definitely not in an advantage position here, Rob, anyway. At absolute best, I think for In the Lions, it's a 5-5, possibly a 6-4 to Tomas Kiley with that fantastic lead run. So I would say that In the Lions is already possibly at a little bit of a disadvantage here because of that great lead run from Tomas Kiley, but we'll have to see. And guys, once again, Tomas Kiley is the master chase driver in Ireland at the moment, and he's going to follow In the Lions here. What are we going to see up the hill? It's all going to happen in about 10 seconds time.
Here we go, 1-1 to get it done. Look at this from Kylie, a mistake from Lyons. He has to correct. Kylie stays in it. And the Lyons has to avoid the wall. Look at this from Kylie, looks like a dog with the ball, throws it out to the rear corner of the 186 and Lyons is driving. Nothing can shake Kylie here. Early initiation, or early transition, I should say, for Lyons. And across the line, give it up for Enda Lyons and Tomas Kylie.
You gotta love Irish drifting, Rob. You just gotta love Irish drifting. What a fantastic sport this is, and we're blessed with drivers and cars like this in this country. What a run and what a final. So guys, we're just gonna see if we do have a decision first.
Yes, I think we do have a decision here, so we'll get our cars back up to the grandstand here. We'll get Tomas Falvey back down here. They're going to take a cool down lap, I'd say.
They're going to take a cool down lap first. So guys, let's see you all out on the podium if you want to celebrate with these drivers. We're going to have the podium celebrations right down here in front of us on the start-finish straight here. Once the cars are cooled down, we're going to get the champagne, we're going to get the trophies, we're going to get the drivers, and we're going to get the cars. So feel free to join us down here, guys. Check out those cars up and close as well. Down on the podium here in about 5 minutes time for IDC Round 3 2022.
Right, we are ready to rock here with the results. Mike Fitz, you have the all-important piece of paper. So without further ado, let's give the results of IDC Round 3.
Right guys, so we do have the results. And thank you all once again for being here today, supporting Irish Drifting once again. Fantastic day's driving, and in third position in the Pro, it is Tomas Falvey in third position. Doing it for the Falvey clan. Unfortunately, we lost Alan O'Loughlin. So Tomas Falvey in third position, which means we are ready to move on and announce. Wait on, Tomas. Too early. So we can announce, guys, your runner-up for IDC Round 3 in the Pro class. It's Enda Lyons. All the way down from Galway, Enda Lyons be delighted with his weekend. Which means the man who is firmly in the championship hunt. Let's hear it, guys, for the absolute legend, the chase driver among chase drivers, it's Tomas Kylie! So we're just going to get a couple of pictures of the guys now. Feel free, guys, to take some pictures there as well. Get in our official photographer, Rob Grimes, way there if you can. So guys, we are back for round 4 and the final of IDC 2022 in Mondello Park at Japfest on the 9th of October. Thank you all once again. My name is Mike Fitz. I'll hand you back to Rob there just to sign us out, guys. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the rest of the weather for the weekend. Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Just want to quickly thank our sponsors once again. Ulster Teams, O'Loughlin Insulation, PJF Motorsport, Hidori Print and Westlake Tyres Ireland. Without those guys, it wouldn't be possible. Also, a big thanks to our partner, TS Drift Days. And as you said, Mike, we are back for round 4 on October 9th at Mondello Park for Japfest. Congratulations to the 3 guys in the podium there, Tomas Falvey, Enda Lyons and Tomas Kylie extends his lead in the championship. We're back on October 9th for Japfest.